Chapter 892. Snatch the spirit ring. The four black-clothed men cupped their hands and turned into four streaks of light, disappearing into the forest. Only Xiaoyang Pu was left standing there silently, holding the spirit ring in his right hand. No one knew what he was thinking. Just as Xiaoyang Pu was deep in thought, a ghostly figure gradually approached. When it was less than 10 meters away from Xiaoyang Pu, the figure suddenly launched an attack. 3 pairs of lightning wings grew out of its back, and its speed was so fast that it was dazzling to look at. "Who is it?" Xiaoyang Pu roared angrily. Naturally, he also felt the figure behind him. He spun his feet, and his right hand blasted out behind him. Violent yuan power surged out. Unfortunately, Xiaoyang Pu's palm only landed on one of the lightning figures. Then, he felt a gust of wind behind him, and a palm wind whistled through the air, directly hitting Xiaoyang Pu in the middle of his back. "Hey! You have a soft armor spirit treasure to protect you." The palm wind made direct contact with Xiaoyang Pu's body. However, Xiaoyang Pu only staggered a little, and his body almost lost its balance. He didn't show any signs of injury. The one who had launched this sneak attack was naturally Zhuowen. After all, Xiaoyang Pu was a peak four-wheel emperor, and Zhuowen's cultivation was much weaker than him. Naturally, he didn't dare to face Xiaoyang Pu head-on. However, the moment his palm wind hit Xiaoyang Pu's back, he felt a trace of unease. Xiaoyang Pu was wearing a soft silk armor, and its defensive power was not weak at all. Of course, if Zhuowen was at his peak, this soft silk armor would be nothing in his eyes. Unfortunately, Zhuowen's current strength was less than a tenth of his original. He had fallen from the sovereign realm to the ultimate emperor realm. It was really difficult for Xiaoyang Pu to break through this soft silk armor. "Damned bastard! How dare you launch a sneak attack on me? I'll make sure you die a horrible death." Xiaoyang Pu roared angrily. The palm strike just now was quite powerful. If he didn't have the soft silk armor on him, he probably would have been seriously injured. This person was too hateful. How could Xiaoyang Pu not be angry? Boom! As he spoke, Xiaoyang Pu reached out with his left hand and grabbed Zhuowen's right hand. Then, his right hand formed into a palm, and fiercely attacked Zhuowen. Looking at the terrifying palm wind in front of him, Zhuowen's face darkened. He coldly snorted, and his body emitted a golden light, 4 heads and 8 arms. Boom! The two palms collided, creating a terrifying gale. Zhuowen groaned and endured the injuries that were about to explode. 6 of his arms hugged Xiaoyang Pu tightly while the other 2 reached out and took the chenkuan bag from Xiaoyang Pu's waist. Xiaoyang Pu also saw Zhuowen's intention, and his face showed both shock and anger. The spiritual ring that he had just snatched was in his chenkuan bag, and this person had snatched his chenkuan bag the moment he arrived. It was obvious that his goal was the spiritual ring. A terrifying aura exploded. Xiaoyang Pu pushed his peak ultimate emperor realm strength to the limit. He wanted to break free from Zhuowen's arms. Unfortunately, Zhuowen's arms were like the tentacles of an octopus, tightly wrapped around him. After taking out the spirit ring from his chenkuan bag, Zhuowen suddenly let go of his hand. Xiaoyang Pu, who had been accumulating his strength, was unable to exert any strength the moment he let go of his hand. His body staggered. Whoosh! Zhuowen stomped his feet, and 3 pairs of lightning wings unfurled. He turned into a bolt of lightning and disappeared into the depths of the forest. Xiaoyang Pu steadied himself and gloomily stared at the departing figure. Although it was only a short exchange, Xiaoyang Pu clearly saw the face of the person who had launched a sneak attack on him. It was Zhuowen from the Ruan clan's team. Isn't this guy just an ultimate emperor realm cultivator? How can he unleash such terrifying strength? Xiaoyang Pu stood silently on a tree branch. Zhuowen's speed was too fast. In the blink of an eye, Zhuowen had disappeared. Xiaoyang Pu knew that even if he chased after him, it would be difficult to find Zhuowen. However, Xiaoyang Pu was even more shocked by the fact that Zhuowen was clearly just an ultimate emperor realm cultivator, yet he'd actually been able to successfully launch a sneak attack on a peak ultimate emperor realm cultivator like him. Moreover, Xiaoyang Pu had even been forced into a rather sorry state during the clash just now. Don't let this young master see you again. Otherwise, this young master will make you suffer. Xiaoyang Pu glanced in the direction Zhuowen had left in. His face was filled with depression. This kidnapping of Leng Ying had been planned by him, and the 4 black-clothed men were his subordinates. He had originally thought that he would be able to obtain the spiritual ring without anyone noticing. He hadn't expected Zhuowen to appear out of nowhere. It was easy to imagine how bad Xiaoyang Pu's mood was. At this moment, the Ruan clan's team had arrived at the cave on the other side of the shrubs due to the commotion caused by the battle. They naturally saw Leng Ying, who had been rescued. "Sister Leng Ying, are you all right?" Ruan Lingyu, Commander Ruan, and the others hurried to Leng Ying and asked worriedly. Leng Ying shook her head and said, "I'm fine. It's all thanks to young Master Xiaoyang Pu's help this time. Otherwise, I would have been in deep trouble." "Sister Leng Ying, what happened? Where did those 4 black-clothed men come from? Why did they kidnap you?" Ruan Lingyu was relieved when she saw that Leng Ying was fine. At the same time, she asked in confusion. "I'm not sure either. These black-clothed men's goal was the spiritual ring. I believe that these people must be related to Zhuowen." Leng Ying's gaze was cold as she said. Hearing Leng Ying's words about Zhuowen, Ruan Lingyu did not refute. However, her face dimmed. It was obvious that she agreed with Leng Ying's words. After all, after the black-clothed men left, Zhuowen suddenly disappeared as well. Ruan Lingyu was not stupid. If someone said that Zhuowen had nothing to do with the black-clothed men, even she would not believe it. Back then, we were really blind to have saved such an ungrateful fellow. "Lingyu, we should have just left Zhuowen in the wild. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been so many incidents." Leng Ying was not convinced. Whoosh! A figure suddenly rushed out from the forest. When everyone looked over, they saw Xiaoyang Pu appear in front of them in a slightly sorry state. "Young master, what happened? Why are you in such a sorry state?" Xiaoyang Pu's subordinates quickly went up to him. When they saw Xiaoyang Pu's sorry state, their eyes were filled with shock. They knew a little about the true identity of the 4 black-clothed men. That was why they did not follow them. However, when Xiaoyang Pu appeared in such a sorry state in front of them, it was obviously out of their expectations. "Young Master Xiaoyang, are you all right? What happened to the 4 black-clothed men? Did you kill them all?" Leng Ying quickly went up to him. When she saw Xiaoyang Pu's sorry state, she could not help but ask with concern. Xiaoyang Pu waved his hand and said helplessly, "I chased after them and intercepted the black-clothed men. Naturally, the 4 black-clothed men were no match for me. However, the 4 black-clothed men actually had some accomplices. They were lying in ambush nearby and ambushed me, causing me to be in such a sorry state. Fortunately, I was alert and managed to escape from their encirclement in time." "What? Accomplices? Young Master Xiaoyang, is Zhuowen one of the black-clothed men's accomplices?" Leng Ying cried out in surprise. Her pretty face immediately turned ugly. Xiaoyang Pu sighed inwardly and said, "Lady Leng Ying is indeed exceptionally intelligent." Among the group of people lying in ambush, there was indeed Zhuowen's figure. "If it were not for my quick reaction, I'm afraid I would have died there." Hearing Xiaoyang Pu's words, Leng Ying gritted her teeth. She secretly cursed Zhuowen's shamelessness in her heart. At the same time, she felt sorry for Xiaoyang Pu's injuries. After all, he was injured because of her, so she naturally felt sorry for him. Ruan Lingyu, who had always protected Zhuowen, also remained silent. Clearly, she also believed Xiaoyang Pu's words and believed that Zhuowen was a spy and a traitor. "Young Master Xiaoyang, Zhuowen's group should still be in this forest. Why don't we search this forest together? Perhaps we can find that group of people. With our group, we should be able to completely annihilate Zhuowen's group." Leng Ying was still unwilling to give up and suggested to Xiaoyang Pu. Xiaoyang Pu's eyes flashed. He had been waiting for Leng Ying to say this. He said that Zhuowen is truly hateful. If our 2 groups work together, we can definitely find Zhuowen's group. "Lingyu, Commander Ruan, do you have any objections?" Leng Ying turned her head and asked Ruan Lingyu and Commander Ruan. "I don't have any objections. The main thing is still up to young Miss, Commander Wan said with a smile. As they spoke, Leng Ying and Xiaoyang Piyu's gazes converged on Wan Lingyu. Seeing the two of them staring at her, Wan Lingyu nodded and said, Sister Leng Ying, then you can lead the group and young Master Xiaoyang to search together. Be careful on the way. I'm a little tired and want to go back and rest. All right. Lingyu's body isn't good and shouldn't be tired out. Commander Wan, you should bring young Miss back to rest first. I'll search the area with young Master Xiaoyang. Leng Ying nodded and replied. Commander Wan nodded in response, then led Wan Lingyu towards the tent. Young Master Xiaoyang, let's search the area together. That Zhuowen is despicable and shameless. We definitely can't let him go. Leng Ying turned her head and smiled at Xiaoyang Piyu. Xiaoyang Piyu nodded and yelled as he led his group and the Wan clan's group into the depths of the forest. Xiaoyang Piyu was also unwilling to accept that his spiritual ring had been stolen by that Zhuowen. Especially when that Zhuowen's cultivation was only at the ultimate emperor realm. This was a great humiliation to him and he definitely had to take revenge for this humiliation. As the teams of the Xiaoyang family and the Wan family gradually searched the depths of the forest, a figure silently sat cross-legged on the trunk of a thick towering tree in the depths of the forest. This figure was none other than Zhuo Wen. Whether or not I'll be able to recover my cultivation depends on you. As he spoke, Zhuo Wen flicked his finger, and a ball of light appeared in his hand. Within the ball of light, there was a small person jumping around. Chapter 893. Tracking Whitebrow Empyrean. Right now, you're the meat on the chopping block, and I'm the knife. I really don't know why you're still jumping around like this. Aren't you afraid that I will destroy your nascent soul? Zhuowen's eyes flashed with a cold light. He clenched his right hand and a powerful origin energy poured into the ball of light. Instantly, the nascent soul inside the ball of light screamed in pain and almost went limp. The little man in the ball of light was Celestial Master Whitebrow, whose physical body had been destroyed by Zhuowen. Not only Celestial Master Whitebrow, but the nascent souls of Celestial Master Guanghan, Celestial Master Xie, Celestial Master Huang Jiao, and Xiang Tianzuan were also in Zhuowen's spiritual ring. Out of the 5 Celestial Masters, Celestial Master Whitebrow was the weakest. His nascent soul had also been sealed by Zhuowen. Even though Zhuowen's cultivation had dropped too much and was only at the first wheel of the ultimate emperor realm, Celestial Master Whitebrow's nascent soul couldn't resist Zhuowen. Indeed, after being stimulated by essence energy for a while, Empyrean Whitebrow quietened down a lot. It was only to see him stare at Zhuowen with a venomous gaze as he said coldly, Zhuowen, what are you trying to do? As you can see, my cultivation is only at the ultimate emperor realm, and my internal injuries are extremely severe. Therefore, I can only borrow the power of your nascent soul. As he said that, a gleam of light flickered through Zhuowen's eyes. He formed a claw with his right hand and suddenly grabbed the tiny person out of the ball of light. Afterwards, a suction force appeared from Zhuowen's hand, slowly absorbing the powerful energy within the Whitebrow Heavenly Exalt's soul into his body. What? Zhuowen, you little bastard. You actually dared to absorb the power of my nascent soul to heal your injuries and improve your cultivation, you son of a bitch. The Whitebrow Empyrean was flustered and exasperated. To think that he, a dignified Empyrean, had actually been reduced to being treated by Zhuowen at this moment. To him, this could be said to be an extreme humiliation. However, no matter how desperately Whitebrow struggled, he was unable to escape from Zhuowen's grasp. After all his strength had been firmly sealed by Zhuowen. He was unable to use any strength at all. To put it bluntly, he was completely powerless right now. Zhuowen completely ignored Heavenly Venerate Whitebrow, who was still clamoring. With a squeeze of his right hand, surging energy from the nascent soul within the ball of light surged into Zhuowen's meridians before flowing along his meridians. The nascent soul of a celestial venerable was indeed very powerful. As this energy flowed through his meridians, Zhuowen could clearly feel a sense of smoothness. The accumulated injuries and hidden ailments in his meridians were all washed away by this energy. As expected of the nascent soul of a celestial venerable. This energy actually has such a miraculous effect. The corners of Zhuowen's mouth curled up. His eyes flashed as he squeezed his right hand again. An even greater amount of energy was sucked from the nascent soul of the White Brow Empyrean. The pitiful White Brow Empyrean could only howl within the ball of light as he cursed Zhuowen in his heart. However, this was of no use. Time slowly passed. The deep night gradually turned a little white. A sliver of light appeared on the horizon. The night was about to dissipate. Rumble. A muffled sound like thunder rang out. A figure sitting quietly on the trunk of a thick tree slowly opened his eyes. His gaze was filled with vigor. I broke through. As expected of the nascent soul of a celestial venerable. In just one night, not only did all my injuries heal, my cultivation has also jumped from the first wheel to the third wheel. Zhuowen slowly stood up. His face was filled with joy. Due to his injuries, Zhuowen had not dared to use too much of the energy within his body. This was because most of the energy within his body was used to suppress his injuries. Now that his injuries had healed and his cultivation had jumped by 2 levels, Zhuowen could unleash his full strength to his heart's content. Furthermore, Zhuowen's cultivation had already reached the early stage of the sovereign realm. As long as he had sufficient energy, Zhuowen would have no problem breaking through. Zhuowen believed that he would be able to completely recover his strength in a short amount of time. A trace of surprise appeared in Zhuowen's eyes as he looked at the slightly dimmed White Brow Empyrean's nascent soul in his hand. After a night of absorption, only a small portion of the White Brow Empyrean's nascent soul had been lost. As expected of a celestial venerable, the energy within his nascent soul was so powerful that it far exceeded Zhuowen's expectations. Of course, it was also possible for Zhuowen to continue absorbing the nascent soul's energy to restore his cultivation. However, if he continued to absorb energy like this, Zhuowen's meridians would not be able to withstand it. After all, the meridians of the human body were only so big. If he absorbed too much energy at once and exceeded the capacity of his meridians would explode. For Zhuowen, that would be a very dangerous thing. As the saying goes, rice should be eaten bite by bite. The recovery of his cultivation could not be rushed. Zhuowen estimated that he would be able to restore his cultivation to its peak in a month's time by relying on the White Brow Empyrean's nascent soul's energy. Whoosh! A black light shot out from the spirit ring. Xiao Hei, who looked like a dog, stood on Zhuowen's shoulder and said in a low voice, "Someone is approaching here. The commotion caused by your breakthrough may have been noticed by them." Zhuowen raised his eyebrows slightly. He didn't need to guess to know who was approaching. It was most likely the people from the House of Few Words. However, Zhuowen didn't want to fight the House of Few Words just yet. After all, the House of Few Words had quite a few Ultimate Emperor realm cultivators. Although Zhuowen wasn't afraid of them right now, he would still have to expend quite a bit of effort to defeat them. Thinking of this, Zhuowen stomped his foot. Like a rock spreading its wings, he flew towards the leaves on the tree trunk. He silently hid in the depths of the leaves and waited. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Not long after, the rustling of leaves could be heard. Soon after, 2 groups of people approached from the path ahead. The person in the lead wore a long yellow robe and had an elegant demeanor. It was the House of Few Words master. Zhuowen saw the group from the House of Few Words through the gaps in the leaves and sneered in his heart. However, when Zhuowen's gaze shifted slightly and landed on the other group, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Zhuowen was naturally familiar with the group beside the House of Few Words. It was the group from the House of Ruan that Zhuowen had followed back then. The leader of the House of Ruan's group was the cold-faced Leng Ying. I clearly heard some commotion here just now. Why is it so quiet now? House of Few Words came to the tree Zhuowen was under. He frowned when he didn't find anything. Perhaps that son of a bitch Zhuowen heard the commotion and slipped away in advance, Leng Ying said coldly as she stood beside House of Few Words. That's possible. House of Few Words nodded. When Zhuowen had stolen the spirit ring from him, he had witnessed Zhuowen's terrifying speed. If it really was Zhuowen, it was understandable that he had discovered their group and left in advance. Young Master House of Few Words. We've been searching for a whole night and there's still no news of Zhuowen. What should we do? Leng Ying turned her head and stared at House of Few Words with her beautiful eyes, full of inquiry. House of Few Words sighed and said, "Let's go back. Although that Zhuowen's cultivation is not high, his speed is extremely terrifying. Even if we find him, it will be very difficult to capture him. Moreover, I've also heard that the heavenly treasure ahead will appear in 2 days. When the Clear Void Valley people obtain the heavenly treasure, they will remove the blockade ahead." Hearing this, Leng Ying's pretty face was full of unwillingness. However, she also knew that House of Few Words was right. This forest was too big. If they wanted to find Zhuowen in such a huge forest, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Therefore, they couldn't stay here any longer. The group of people once again searched the vicinity, but did not discover anything. Then, they left this place with an unwilling expression. After House of Few Words had completely left, Zhuowen slowly walked out from the foliage. His right hand stroked his chin and his eyes revealed a touch of contemplation. He couldn't go back to the Ruan family team. Although he didn't fear House of Few Words, once the two sides met, it would inevitably attract the attention of the Clear Void Valley disciples. With the reputation of the House of Few Words, the Clear Void Valley disciples would definitely lean towards House of Few Words. Therefore, Zhuowen didn't want to provoke trouble. "Kid, didn't House of Few Words say? A heavenly treasure is about to appear in a radius of 100 miles ahead. Don't tell me you're not tempted." Xiao He stood on Zhuowen's shoulder with his arms crossed in front of his chest. His smile was quite lascivious. Zhuowen rolled his eyes. Xiao He's words were obviously because Xiao He was tempted. Now, he was encouraging Zhuowen to go. Although Zhuowen knew what Xiao He was thinking, he was indeed quite curious about the heavenly treasure ahead. "Let's sneak in and take a look." After muttering to himself for a moment, Zhuowen still decided to go to the forest ahead to take a look. Early in the morning, a ray of the rising sun sprinkled down warm light. In the open space, the House of Few Words and the House of Few Words set up camp, waiting for the Clear Void Valley disciples to let them pass. At the entrance of the small path ahead, 7 or 8 Clear Void Valley disciples dressed in green and white robes vigilantly stared at the teams in the open space from time to time. The swords at their waists slowly swayed as they walked. Deng deng deng. Crisp footsteps suddenly came from the other end of the small path, attracting the attention of the Clear Void Valley disciples and the others in the open space. They saw a figure slowly walking over from the end of the small path. When this figure approached, everyone could see the person's face clearly. This person was about middle-aged, with a sallow complexion. His steps were unsteady and his breath was also extremely unstable. Looking at the sickly middle-aged man in front of them, quite a few people's gazes revealed contempt. Faced with these gazes, the middle-aged man acted as if he did not hear them. Instead, he walked straight to the entrance of the small path ahead. When this person arrived in front of the Clear Void Valley disciples, he was immediately stopped. "This place has been reserved by our Clear Void Valley. If you want to pass through here to reach Yang City, you should wait a few more days," a Clear Void Valley disciple coldly berated. Looking at the middle-aged man who was stopped, many people in the open space revealed mocking smiles. There were even some who laughed without restraint. "Ah! Wait a few more days." The sallow-complexioned middle-aged man revealed a puzzled expression, somewhat confused. Chapter 894. Zui Qingfeng. The sudden change not only stunned the other people in the open space, even the Clear Void Valley disciples at the entrance of the path were stunned. When they completely reacted, 3 pairs of lightning wings sprouted from the back of the sallow-faced middle-aged man. He turned into an illusory lightning and instantly disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. So fast. The Clear Void Valley disciples guarding the entrance suddenly became dumbstruck. They wanted to chase, but that middle-aged man's speed was too fast. In the blink of an eye, he had already completely disappeared without a trace. Plop. The disciple who was sent flying fell to the ground at this moment. He hurriedly climbed up, his face still full of confusion. Until now, he still hadn't reacted. When he realized what had just happened, his face immediately turned green and white, extremely unsightly. Someone actually dared to break into our Clear Void Valley's reserved area. Truly audacious. We must inform the brothers inside. That disciple climbed up, immediately took out a signal lamp from his bosom and threw it. Immediately, this signal lamp turned into a wisp of exploding fireworks, diffusing in the sky. Everyone in the open space was also in a state of shock. They also didn't expect that someone would dare to break into the dense forest ahead. That was the area reserved by the clear void valley. If that person was caught, that person would undoubtedly die. In the Xiaoyang family's group, Xiaoyang Piyu's eyes narrowed. Just now, that sallow-faced middle-aged man used 3 pairs of lightning wings. If he didn't recognize incorrectly, wasn't that the secret technique used by Zhuowen last night? Could it be that the middle-aged man just now was Zhuowen in disguise? Xiaoyang Piyu's brows slightly wrinkled as he thought to himself. Whoosh! In the depths of the dense forest, a figure flitted past and stopped on a rather remote tree trunk. It was the middle-aged man who had just broken into the dense forest. And this middle-aged man was precisely Zhuowen's transformation using the 100 transformation technique. Looking at the exploding fireworks in the sky, Zhuowen knew that this signal lamp should be to inform the Clear Void Valley disciples in the dense forest ahead that someone had broken in. Next, we have to be careful. With that signal lamp's warning, those Clear Void Valley disciples will definitely become extremely vigilant. On his shoulder, Xiao Hei indifferently said, "Yes. Right now, let's find the location of that treasure first. I really don't know what kind of treasure the Clear Void Valley is looking for." Zhuowen nodded and retracted his aura as he continued forward. Several hundred meters away from Zhuowen, there was a rather quiet valley. Within this valley, there were quite a few Clear Void Valley disciples wearing green and white robes. This valley covered an area of several dozen miles, and its surface was covered with countless lush green vines. It looked full of vitality. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 figures descended from the sky and arrived in the valley. The leader of the 3 figures was extremely young. He wore a long green robe and had a jade-colored wine gourd at his waist. He had long hair that draped over his shoulders, and there was always a hint of a smile on his face. Behind the young man were 2 old men with extremely powerful auras. The 2 old men stood on either side of the young man as if they were his bodyguards. Senior brother Zui Qingfeng is here. It seems that the thing in this valley is really important. Within the valley, the disciples of the Clear Void Valley dressed in green and white robes all walked forward. Their gazes were blazing as they stared at the smiling Zui Qingfeng. This was the pride of their Clear Void Valley, a powerful existence ranked in the top 5 of the Flame God list. Greetings to senior brother Zui Qingfeng and the 2 elders. The group of Clear Void Valley disciples all walked forward and bowed to Zui Qingfeng with cupped hands. Their eyes were filled with admiration. Zui Qingfeng nodded. His right hand took the opportunity to untie the jade-colored wine gourd at his waist. He very naturally opened the cork and fiercely drank a mouthful of wine. He looked at the Clear Void Valley disciples in front of him and said with a hearty smile, "Junior brothers, you've worked hard. I wonder how the demon Buddha body tree is." One of the Clear Void Valley disciples walked forward and said to Zui Qingfeng in a low voice, "Senior brother, don't worry. After we found out about this matter, we sealed off the news. The only people who know about the demon Buddha body tree are our Clear Void Valley people." Zui Qingfeng nodded and said, "Let's wait a little longer. Sect Master will be here in a moment. We just need to guard this valley here." "What? Lord Sect Master is also coming?" That disciple's expression changed greatly. He did not expect that the demon Buddha body tree would actually make their Clear Void Valley's Sect Master come in person. It seemed that this demon Buddha body tree was extraordinary. Shoo! Suddenly, an explosive sound came from the dense forest behind them. Soon after, Zui Qingfeng and the others raised their heads and saw fireworks exploding in the sky. Is that a signal light? Could it be that someone has intruded into this area that our Clear Void Valley has reserved? Should we send people to capture that intruder? He actually dares to look down on our Clear Void Valley. He's really abominable. The Clear Void Valley disciples in the valley all started to discuss. Their faces were filled with anger. It was obvious that they were extremely unhappy with the intruder. Zui Qingfeng frowned slightly and said indifferently, "No need to pay attention to him. The demon Buddha body tree exists in this valley. We just need to guard this valley well." Hearing this, the other disciples also quieted down. Zui Qingfeng had a great prestige in their clear void valley. Now that he had spoken, the other disciples naturally did not object. Whoosh! Tens of meters away from the valley, on the trunk of a huge towering tree, a figure appeared out of thin air. This person's gaze was fixed on the valley in front of him. A strange expression appeared on his face. "Xiao Hei. When I approached this valley, the great sun nirvana force in my body actually became restless, as if it was yearning for something." Zhuowen turned his head and said softly to Xiao Hei on his shoulder, It can actually cause the great sun nirvana force in your body to become restless. Could it be that this valley contains a treasure related to Buddhist energy?" Xiao Hei's eyes revealed a trace of interest. Soon after, he said in a low voice, "Brat, you have to be careful. There are many clear void valley disciples in the valley ahead." Nodding his head, Zhuowen naturally also felt that there were many strong auras in the valley. Moreover, there were 2 clear void valley disciples wearing green and white robes guarding the entrance of the valley. "It seems that I have to think of a way to sneak in. I want to see what exactly exists in this valley." As he spoke, Zhuowen quietly approached the valley, while Xiao Hei returned to the spirit ring to avoid revealing his identity. "Hey, junior brother, have you heard? I heard that a Buddha demon body tree that is rarely seen in 100 years has appeared in this valley. For the sake of this body tree, our Lord Sect Master is planning to come here personally." One of the taller disciples whispered to the shorter disciple beside him. The slightly shorter disciple's gaze became slightly focused. He said with some disbelief, "It can't be. Even the sect master has come. Is that demon Buddha body tree really that attractive?" "Nonsense. You don't know, but this demon Buddha body tree is really extraordinary. It is said that if a martial artist can cultivate under this demon Buddha body tree, their comprehension will increase by hundreds or thousands, thus reaching the great enlightenment realm. For example, if a martial artist with poor aptitude can cultivate under this demon Buddha body tree, his comprehension will increase by hundreds or thousands, and his cultivation speed can even catch up with the top geniuses. Do you think this demon Buddha body tree is important?" The tall disciple said with some disappointment. "So powerful? If I, junior brother, have the opportunity to sit under the demon Buddha body tree and comprehend Tao, will my cultivation speed be able to catch up with senior brother Zui Qingfeng?" When the short disciple heard this, his eyes were full of passion. "You should be able to. According to the ancient records, this demon Buddha body tree does have a miraculous effect on comprehension. Junior brother, if you have the opportunity to cultivate under that tree, your cultivation speed can really be comparable to senior brother. However, I'm afraid that such an opportunity will not fall on us. After all, we are just ordinary disciples." When the tall disciple said this, he was slightly dejected. He was very clear that such good things were generally reserved for the talented disciples in the sect. They basically did not have a chance. Dang! Suddenly, a strange sound came from the bushes in front of the entrance. It immediately attracted the attention of the 2 disciples at the entrance. "Who is it?" The tall disciple's eyes narrowed slightly as he coldly shouted. However, he was answered with a long silence, as if the strange sound was just an illusion. The tall disciple frowned slightly and said to the short disciple beside him in a deep voice, "Junior brother, I will go ahead and take a look. You stay here and guard." After receiving the short disciple's consent, the tall disciple walked toward the bushes in front of him. His movements were extremely cautious. When he arrived in front of the bushes, the tall disciple pushed aside the bushes in front of him, but he did not find anything behind it. Could it be my misconception? The tall disciple frowned slightly and shook his head. Just as he was about to leave, a right hand suddenly pinched his hands that were reaching into the bushes. Then, with a force, the tall disciple was directly submerged into the bushes. Crack! The low sound of bones cracking rang out. The bushes also violently swayed left and right, and a few leaves fell. "Senior brother?" The short disciple at the entrance of the valley also noticed the abnormality in the bushes. He turned his eyes and the tall disciple actually disappeared in front of his eyes. This was too abnormal. As he said this, The short disciple slowly walked toward the bushes. His right hand tightly held the sword at his waist. If something went wrong, he would immediately shout for help. Rustle, rustle. The sound of a body rubbing against the bushes rang out. Suddenly, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the short disciple. The short disciple's body trembled and he almost drew his sword. "Junior brother, it's me." A familiar voice rang out. The short disciple fixed his eyes and immediately saw the figure that appeared in front of him. Wasn't it the tall disciple who suddenly disappeared into the bushes? Letting out a light sigh, the short disciple complained, "Senior brother, you went into the bushes without saying a word. I thought something happened to you. You really scared me. What was behind the bushes just now?" Chapter 895. Demon Buddha Body Tree. The short disciple did not suspect anything. He only glanced at the shrubs, nodded, and walked back to the entrance of the valley. The tall disciple followed behind the short disciple. "Junior brother, I'm quite curious about the Demon Buddha Body Tree, so I want to go in and take a look. Why don't you guard here for a while, and I'll go in and take a look. I'll come back after I'm done," the tall disciple suddenly said. Hearing this, the short disciple revealed a troubled expression. "Senior brother, that won't do. We were specially arranged to guard the entrance of the valley. If you leave without permission, it won't be good if the higher-ups blame you. Don't worry, junior brother, I'll just go in and take a look. This is just a small token. Don't think it's too little." The tall disciple suddenly took out a sparkling and translucent spirit stone from his bosom and nonchalantly stuffed it into the short disciple's bosom. The short disciple felt a chill in his hand, and immediately noticed the spirit stone in his hand. His eyes lit up, and he accepted it without a trace. With a flattering smile, he said, "Since senior brother is so generous, I'll be a little unreasonable if I refuse. Then I'll have to trouble you, junior brother." The tall disciple nodded, and immediately entered the valley. However, the moment he turned around, a strange smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Needless to say, this tall disciple had already been replaced by Zhuoan. The real tall disciple had already died in the shrubs. This person was disguised by Zhuoan using the 100 transformation technique. The valley was quite large, and there were actually disciples of the clear void valley everywhere. At a glance, there were nearly 100 people, and their strength was basically above the Ultimate Emperor realm. The weakest was around the Ultimate Emperor realm. Especially at the center of the valley, there were 3 figures surrounded by many clear void valley disciples. The auras on their bodies were extremely terrifying, far surpassing the Ultimate Emperor realm. These 3 figures were naturally Zui Qingfeng and the 2 clear void valley elders behind him. At this moment, the 3 of them were looking at the depths of the valley. There was a forest of intertwined branches. The brownish-black skin emitted a rather frightening light. In the depths of the withered twig jungle, in the center of countless twisting branches and vines, a strange tree that was tens of feet tall silently stood there. The reason why this tree was strange was because there were 2 different colors on the surface of this tree. One side was golden, while the other side was shrouded in black fog. It looked extremely abnormal. Furthermore, in the place where the golden light shone, the figure of an ancient Buddha could be faintly seen. On the other side, in the place where the black mist lingered, the figure of a frenzied devil could be faintly seen. The Buddha and the demon, 2 existences that had been opposing each other since ancient times, actually existed in the same body tree at the same time. Even Zhuoan felt a tinge of fear at first glance. It is indeed the Demon Buddha Body Tree. This thing has unimaginable benefits for a cultivator's cultivation and comprehension. Xiao He transmitted a message to Zhuoan from within the spirit ring. Comparing this Demon Buddha Body Tree to the Enlightenment Cliff in the first layer of the Azure Dragon Palace, which one has a better effect? Zhuoan's eyes flashed as he asked Xiao He. Naturally, this Demon Buddha Body Tree is much better, Xiao He said without any hesitation. However, this Demon Buddha Body Tree will always be rooted wherever it is born. If someone wants to pull it out, this Demon Buddha Body Tree won't be able to survive for too long. I wonder why these people from the Clear Void Valley are gathered here. Could it be that they plan to occupy this place? Xiao Hei's voice contained a trace of doubt. The demon Buddha body tree would die wherever it was born. Once it was pulled out by someone, it would easily wither and die. Therefore, Xiao Hei was a little surprised as to why these people from the Clear Void Valley would gather here and even muster such a large force. Zhuowen shook his head. He naturally did not know the real reason why these people from the Clear Void Valley were gathered here. Now, he could only wait. Thinking of this, Zhuowen silently sat cross-legged in a corner where no one was paying attention. He closed his eyes and rested. Although he had recovered from the Ultimate Emperor realm from the first wheel to the third wheel last night, this bit of cultivation was far from enough. He had to race against time to recover all of his cultivation. Zui Qingfeng and the two elders silently stood before the demon Buddha body tree with their hands behind their backs, as if they were waiting for something. As for the other disciples of the Clear Void Valley, they naturally would not act rashly in front of Zui Qingfeng. They also waited with them. Time passed by slowly. However, when the sun was high in the sky, an extremely terrifying aura rushed over from the distant horizon. Its speed was so fast that it was shocking. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air rang out like thunder. Then, an imposing figure descended in the sky above the valley. This person's hair and beard were all white. His eyes shone brightly. His right hand held a sword and his feet stepped on a long sword. Greetings, Sect Master. When this white-haired old man arrived, many of the Clear Void Valley disciples in the valley bowed and cupped their hands together. Their eyes were filled with fervor. The old man slightly nodded. With a wave of his right hand, a surging power poured out. The bent disciples in the Clear Void Valley were all lifted up by this power. In an empty corner, Zhuowen also slowly opened his eyes. Naturally, he noticed the white-haired old man who had just arrived in the valley. Clear Void Valley's sect master, Qing Shuzi. What a powerful aura, Zhuowen muttered to himself. Previously, he had discussed the 5 great factions of Yang City with Ruan Lingyu. At that time, Zhuowen had also specifically asked Ruan Lingyu for some detailed information about the 5 great factions. This Clear Void Valley's sect master was called Qing Shuzi. It was said that his cultivation was at the heavenly venerate stage and he could be considered one of the giants of Yang City. Qing Shuzi nodded. Soon after, he landed beside Zui Qingfeng and softly said, "Qingfeng, did you discover anything?" Zui Qingfeng respectfully bowed and said, "Sect Master, Qingfeng has observed this demon Buddha body tree for a long time. I'm afraid that if we want to uproot this demon Buddha body tree and transplant it to our Clear Void Valley, the chances of survival are not high. The roots of this demon Buddha body tree are really too weak. Once it leaves the soil that nurtured it, it will instantly wither and die. Unless there is something that can completely seal the essence of the demon Buddha body tree's roots and preserve them, then we can try to transplant it." Qing Shuzi nodded. He knew more about the demon Buddha body tree than Zui Qingfeng and naturally knew how weak its roots were. No matter. Before I left the Clear Void Valley, I had already made preparations. This time, we will definitely be able to transplant this demon Buddha body tree into our Clear Void Valley. Qing Shuzi stared at the demon Buddha body tree in front of him with blazing eyes. Soon after, with a flick of his finger, a palm-sized 7-colored clay appeared in his hand. This clay emitted 7 different colors and looked rather beautiful. 7-colored leap clay? Looking at the 7-colored clay in Qing Shuzi's hand, Zui Qingfeng and the 2 elders narrowed their eyes and could not help but cry out in surprise. This 7-colored leap clay contains an extremely strong essence. If we can pull out the demon Buddha body tree and wrap its roots with this 7-colored leap clay, the demon Buddha body tree will not immediately wither and die. Qing Shuzi said with a faint smile. Zui Qingfeng and the 2 elders nodded. Qing Shuzi's words were correct. The 7-colored leap clay contained essence and could indeed protect the roots of the demon Buddha body tree very well. Qingfeng, the 2 elders, lend me a hand. Let's pull out this demon Buddha body tree first. Taking out the 7-colored leap clay, Qing Shuzi instantly arrived in front of the demon Buddha body tree. His right hand formed a palm and Yuan power gushed out. Like a vast ocean of terrifying energy, he attempted to pull out the demon Buddha body tree in front of him. Zui Qingfeng and the two elders nodded and hurriedly came to Qing Shu's side. Similarly, yuan power gushed out from their palms. According to Qing Shu's method, they used this energy to form a suction force to help Qing Shuzi pull out the demon Buddha body tree. Boom boom boom. The instant the four of them began to pull the demon Buddha body tree, the demon Buddha body tree actually began to boil. The ancient Buddha in the golden radiance and the devil in the black mist moved at the same time. Simultaneously, they attacked Qing Shuzi and the other three elders in an attempt to stop their actions. If it were really the ancient Buddha and the devil, I would really be afraid. Unfortunately, you're just phantoms. Qing Shu's indifferent voice rang out. He pinched the sword fingers of his left hand and suddenly pointed at the void. Countless sword shadows rushed out from his body and turned into tens of thousands of sword rays, rushing toward the ancient Buddha and the devil phantoms. Boom boom boom. Explosions resounded. The ancient Buddha and the devil phantoms did not last long under Qing Shu's attack and were completely turned into ashes. Rise. After annihilating the ancient Buddha and the devil phantoms, Qing Shuzi furiously roared. Yuan power gushed out from his palm and a terrifying energy gushed out. Instantly, the entire valley began to shake violently. The other disciples of the clear void valley who were standing in the valley were all shocked. They staggered and almost fell. Under the combined efforts of Qing Shuzi and the other three, the demon Buddha body tree finally loosened. Soon after, the huge tree began to slowly float up. After a while, the entire demon Buddha body tree was pulled out by Qing Shuzi and the other three. What was surprising was that the roots of the demonic Buddha body tree were only a few feet long. It was no wonder that the demonic Buddha body tree would wither and die the moment it was pulled out. It was because its roots were too weak and small. Once the demon Buddha body tree was pulled out, Qing Shu's movements were not slow. With a wave of his right hand, the seven-colored soil turned into a seven-colored radiance and instantly wrapped around the roots of the demon Buddha body tree. Seal. At the same time, Qing Shu's hand seals changed. Immediately, a huge seal character appeared in the void. A mysterious sealing power poured out and completely sealed the entire demon Buddha body tree. Whoosh! Just as Qing Shuzi finished sealing the demonic Buddha body tree, a black light quickly drilled out from the ground below. This black light was covered in black mist. It stretched out its right hand, which was covered in black mist, and it was covered in sharp claws. Chapter 896. Mo Ying and Mo Daozi. Mo Ying from the Heavenly Peak Devil Palace. Within the valley, everyone was stunned for a moment when the Buddha demon body tree was snatched away by the black figure. Soon after, an uproar broke out. All of them recognized the figure that was covered by the black fog. It was the top genius of the Heaven Peak Devil Palace, Missouri Ying. Heavenly Peak Devil Palace, you are getting more and more presumptuous. How dare a junior snatch something in front of me? I think you are courting death. Qing Shuzi regained his senses and his face was ghastly pale. He pointed at the empty space with his right hand and thousands of sword radiances flew out and gathered in the sky. Soon after, the thousands of sword radiances turned into a huge void sword. Swoosh! The huge void sword fell from the sky towards the fleeing black figure at lightning speed. Mo Ying, who was shrouded in black fog, also sensed the terrifying void sword falling from the sky. His face changed slightly as he screamed and quickly retreated. Rumble! The sword of the void, which was hundreds of feet long, slammed into the front of the demonic shadow like a huge mountain, blocking the demonic shadow's path. Terrifying and sharp sword essence erupted from the sword of the void and swept towards the demonic shadow. Demonic shadow world! Mo Ying screamed and terrifying black fog spread out. It turned into thousands of demonic shadows and covered the sky. It was so dazzling that no one could tell which one was the real one. Boom! 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 Unfortunately, this sword intent also split into tens of thousands of rays and shot towards the tens of thousands of demonic figures. Immediately, the demonic figures that were pierced by the sword intent all collapsed, leaving behind only a single figure that let out a muffled groan and retreated. Mo Ying, you're quite bold to actually dare to snatch the Buddha demon body tree from my hands. You're simply courting death. Qing Shu's hair and beard fluttered as he looked at the looming demonic shadow in the black fog. His eyes were filled with bone-chilling coldness. He. Senior Qing Shuzi, do you think I would dare to come here alone with you guarding the valley? A mocking sneer came from the black fog. Hey! The demon Daozi from the heavenly peak Devil Palace is also here? Qing Shuzi knitted his brows and said in surprise. Boom! As soon as Qing Shu's words left his mouth, endless black mist gathered in the void. Then, a huge demonic figure loomed in the black mist. Then, the huge black fog sank and formed an inverted funnel, looking like a terrifying tornado. At the mouth of the inverted funnel, a figure slowly stepped out. This person had black hair, black eyes, and was dressed in a black robe. Even his lips were eerily black. He looked like a real devil who was looking down at Qing Shuzi. Qing Shu, is it really okay to slander me behind my back? Master Demon looked at Qing Shu indifferently and said coldly. Whoosh! Demon Shadow turned into a black light and arrived beside Master Demon. Demon Shadow waved his right hand and the Buddha Demon Body Tree immediately cupped his hands and handed it over to Master Demon. Honorable Palace Master, the Buddha Demon Body Tree is most suitable for you. Only you are worthy of possessing this item, Mo Ying said respectfully. Master Demon nodded and took the Buddha Demon Body Tree from Demon Shadow. His pitch-black eyes revealed a trace of satisfaction as he said coldly, Demon Shadow, you have done a great service this time. I will reward you when we return. Demon Shadow kowtowed excitedly and said, Thank you, Palace Master. Chapter 897. A thought to become Buddha, a thought to become demon. The figure was like a ghost as it approached the soil where the Demon Buddha Body Tree grew. Neither Qing Shuzi nor Demon Daozi noticed this figure. After all, their goal was the Demon Buddha Body Tree. Now that the Demon Buddha Body Tree had been extracted, they naturally wouldn't pay attention to the forest of dead branches that was still empty. Zhuowen quietly stared at the ground beneath his feet. In the middle of the dead branches, there was a rather deep hole. This hole originally contained the Demon Buddha Body Tree. Moreover, Zhuowen discovered that the soil here was actually pale gold. It looked extremely strange. When his right hand touched the pale gold soil, Zhuowen discovered that the great sun nirvana force in his body was cheering as it constantly surged and boiled. This golden soil has such rich Buddhist energy. Feeling the excitement of the great sun nirvana force, Zhuowen whispered with a blazing gaze. This is the Buddha Demon Dual Pole soil. There is both Buddhist energy and demonic energy in it. It is quite beneficial for Buddhist and demonic cultivators. Kid, since you have a Buddhist technique like the Great Sun Nirvana force in your body and also have the experience of becoming a demon, this Buddha Demon Dual Pole soil will be quite beneficial for you. Xiao Hei said to Zhuowen. Nodding his head, Zhuowen waved his right hand and Yuan power spurted out. The Buddha Demon Dual Pole soil below was instantly absorbed into Zhuowen's spirit ring. However, what disappointed Zhuowen was that there wasn't a lot of Buddha Demon Dual Pole soil. It was only the size of a palm. Kid, don't be greedy. You don't know how precious this Buddha Demon Dual Pole soil is. After all, this soil grew a strange treasure like the Demon Buddha Body Tree. In a sense, this soil is even more precious than the Demon Buddha Body Tree. Xiao Hei cautiously said. Scratching his head, Zhuowen also knew that he was being too greedy. However, he seemed to have thought of something and asked Xiao Hei, since this Buddha Demon Dual Pole soil is so precious, would Qing Shuzi and Demon Daozi know about it? If he knew, he might even come back. You're right. This is not a good place. You are too weak right now. Let's not talk about Demon Daoist or Qing Shuzi. Even Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying, the two juniors from the Xuanzuan realm, would be enough to deal with you. Xiao Hei nodded. Just as Zhuowen was about to leave, Zhuowen discovered that the great sun nirvana force in his body had not calmed down. Instead, it was becoming more and more intense. Both the Buddha and Devil Polar Earth have been obtained by me. Why is the great sun nirvana power still unwilling to give up? Narrowing his eyes, Zhuowen's face revealed a rare expression of deep thought. He softly said, perhaps there is something under the soil that caused such a strange change to occur in the great sun nirvana force. As he spoke, Zhuowen's right hand formed a claw and reached down. Immediately, Zhuowen dug out a large hole. There's another world below. Zhuowen's eyes flickered. His right palm once again spat out an even more vigorous yuan power, causing the underground cave to continuously expand. Boom! Finally, a muffled thunder-like sound rang out. The cave had been broken open by Zhuowen to the size of a person, revealing a deep and serene passageway below. There's actually a passageway below. Don't tell me there's still some secret inside. Xiao He also arrived in front of the passageway in a flash. Her black eyes revealed a look of deep thought. Let's go in and take a look. As he spoke, Zhuowen led Xiao He into the passageway. At the same time, Zhuowen also carefully covered the entrance with soil. If he did not lift the soil, an ordinary person would not be able to see that there was another world below. Swoosh! Following the passageway, Zhuowen swiftly rushed towards the depths. In a short while, they had arrived at the depths. This was a rather spacious stone cave. The surrounding rock walls were protruding in an irregular manner. However, the instant Zhuowen entered this stone cave, his gaze was attracted by a statue in the middle of the stone cave. The statue's appearance was that of a young man. However, the strange thing was that this young man's appearance was extremely strange. The left side of his face was calm and peaceful, while the right side was overbearing and savage. It was as if two different personalities were present on this person's body. A thought to become Buddha, a thought to become demon. Buddha and demon cannot coexist. Both will eventually turn to ashes. A faint sigh suddenly slowly spread out in this stone cave. Subsequently, Zhuowen saw countless rock fragments falling from the surface of the strange stone statue in front of him. When all the fragments fell, a golden glow and a black glow simultaneously emitted from the stone statue. Subsequently, an ancient Buddha and a demon respectively stepped out from the golden glow and the black glow. The two illusory figures stared at each other without saying a word. Subsequently, the ancient Buddha and the demon struck out with their palms. Rumble. The golden glow and the black glow collided, erupting into a golden and black light pillar that rushed towards the sky. Under the effect of this golden and black light pillar, the entire stone cave trembled violently, as if it was about to collapse. Damn it! What's going on? I've only just entered. Why is this strange phenomenon happening to the statue all of a sudden? Zhuowen's footsteps staggered. His gaze became extremely solemn as he stared intently at the golden and black light pillar in front of him. He did not believe that the golden and black light pillar would appear so inexplicably. There must be something inside that caused it. Indeed, at the center of the golden and black light pillar, an oval-shaped object the size of a thumb appeared in front of Zhuowen. This is the demonic Buddha body seed. No wonder this place has the demonic Buddha earth and the demonic Buddha body tree. It's all to conceal the demonic Buddha body seed. Xiao He also noticed the oval-shaped object at the center of the light pillar and could not help but exclaim, "Demonic Buddha body seed?" Seeing Xiao He's astonishment, Zhuowen could not help but be moved. This was also the first time he had heard of the demonic Buddha body seed. Don't ask anymore. Quickly keep this demonic Buddha body seed and leave. Right now, this demonic Buddha body seed has caused quite a commotion. If we don't leave now, I'm afraid we won't be able to. Xiao He quickly said. Nodding his head, Zhuowen did not hesitate. With a stroke of his right hand, the demonic Buddha body seed was stored in his spirit ring. Instantly, the golden and black light pillar that soared into the sky came to an abrupt stop as if it had never happened. Let's go. After putting away the demonic Buddha body seed, Zhuowen took a step forward and quickly flew up the tunnel. At this moment, the disciples of the Clear Void Valley were gathered outside the valley. They raised their heads and looked at Qing Shu and Demon Daoist, who were still in a fierce battle, as well as Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying. They were all secretly cheering for Qing Shu and Zui Qingfeng. Whoosh! A golden and black light pillar soared into the sky, attracting the attention of many disciples outside the valley. Hey! Why did such a golden and black light pillar suddenly appear? It seems to be coming from the direction of the valley. Could there be some kind of treasure in the valley? The disciples of the Clear Void Valley were all discussing spiritedly. However, The golden and black light pillar only appeared for a short period of time before disappearing without a trace, causing them to be even more puzzled. At this moment, Qing Shuzi, Demon Daozi, Zui Qingfeng, and Mo Ying had all stopped fighting. They had also noticed the golden black pillar of light that soared into the sky. They had even discovered that the Buddhist and demonic energy emitted from the pillar of light was extremely dense. Qing Shu's eyes flickered. He took a step forward and actually ignored Demon Daoist as he rushed towards the valley. Unfortunately, before Qing Shu could take a few steps, a huge black sword fell from the sky and blocked his path. Demon Daoist. There are other treasures in the valley. Do you still want to continue fighting? Qing Shu took a few steps back and roared at Demon Daoist, who was behind him in a flustered and exasperated manner. I have the demonic Buddha body tree, and that's enough. Right now, I only want to see who's stronger. Could it be that the dignified Clear Void Valley's sect master is actually so cowardly that he's afraid of fighting? Demon Daoist's pitch-black pupils indifferently stared at Qing Shu. His voice was still as cold and emotionless as before. It was impossible to detect any fluctuations in his emotions at this moment. You're a madman. Qing Shu's expression was ugly. He knew that Demon Daoist was someone who wouldn't give up until he achieved his goal. Now that he was entangled by Demon Daoist, he had to admit that he was really unlucky. Qingfeng. Go to the valley and take a look. If there's anything, snatch it. Qing Shu instructed Zui Qingfeng. His right hand formed a sword seal and rushed towards Demon Daoist. Come on. Demon Daoist coldly shouted. He swung the demon's sword and a terrifying demonic power filled the entire sky as he rushed towards Qing Shu. In an instant, the two collided once again and a terrifying power erupted. Zui Qingfeng nodded and coldly glanced at Mo Ying. I'm not going to play with you anymore. After saying that, Zui Qingfeng took a step forward and flew towards the direction of the valley. Mo Ying's lips curled up slightly. He did not continue to fight with Zui Qingfeng. Instead, he leisurely followed behind Zui Qingfeng. He also wanted to see what was going on in the valley. Soon, the two arrived in the sky above the valley one after the other. Then, they saw the scene of the valley riddled with holes. Other than the valley riddled with holes, there was also a Clear Void Valley disciple in a green and white robe. At this moment, this Clear Void Valley disciple was walking towards the outside of the valley. This Clear Void Valley disciple was transformed by Zhuowen using the 100 transformation technique. After Zhuowen obtained the Demon Buddha body seed, he rushed out of the tunnel without stopping. At the same time, he wanted to quickly leave the valley. Once he mixed in with the numerous Clear Void Valley disciples, even if Qing Shu personally came, Zhuowen wouldn't be afraid of being recognized. However, what Zhuowen didn't expect was that just as he was about to leave the valley, Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying actually came back ahead of him. Zui Qingfeng looked around the valley and didn't find anything suspicious. He couldn't help but slightly frown. Mo Ying sneered and immediately arrived above Zhuowen. He looked down at Zhuowen and said, "What happened here just now? Speak, or die." The Zhuowen in front of him was only an ultimate third-wheel emperor. Mo Ying could tell at a glance that a cultivator of this level was like an ant in his eyes. Therefore, Mo Ying didn't have any scruples when speaking. Zhuowen shook his head blankly and said, "This lowly one also doesn't know." Just now, the golden black pillar of light appeared for a very short period of time. I only saw the pillar of light emanating from there. As he spoke, Zhuowen pointed at the soil where the Demon Buddha body tree was planted. Oh, could it be that there's something else in that soil? Chapter 898. Exposed tracks stay in there. If what you said is true, I will release you from your shackles when I come out. However, if you lie, the moment I come out will be the day you die. The Devil Shadow said indifferently. Whoosh. Zui Qingfeng arrived above Zhuowen and coldly stared at the Devil Shadow. Devil Shadow. What do you mean by this? You dare to secretly bind a disciple of my Clear Void Valley. Zui Qingfeng. Can you not be so naive? Just now, the golden black pillar of light appeared for too short a period of time. This goes against common sense. How can the appearance of a treasure be so short? There is only this person in the valley. If we enter the cave and find that there is nothing inside, then it is very likely that the thing inside was taken by this person. This is also for insurance. Moreover, I didn't kill this person. The devil shadow's cold voice slowly sounded. A pair of inhuman eyes stared coldly at Zui Qingfeng through the black fog. Hearing this, Zui Qingfeng was silent. Actually, when he first entered the valley, he also suspected this clear void valley disciple in front of him. However, as the eldest senior brother of the clear void valley, he naturally felt embarrassed to act against a fellow disciple. Junior brother, sorry for inconveniencing you. Zui Qingfeng looked apologetically at Zhuowen in the black fog. Then, with a step, he rushed towards the cave that appeared in the forest of dead branches. Hypocrite! This is your clear void valley's eldest senior brother. Now, take a good look at his ugly face. The devil shadow laughed mockingly. Not to be outdone, he followed behind Zui Qingfeng and entered the cave, leaving Zhuowen in the black fog with an ugly expression. This devil shadow is really vigilant. Xiao Hei, we must quickly break through this black fog. Otherwise, when the devil shadow and Zui Qingfeng come out, they won't let me off easily. Zhuowen hurriedly said to Xiao Hei. Don't look at this dragon lord. Xiao Hei crawled out of the spirit ring and snorted. My essence is almost depleted, and you still want me to be a coolie? From Xiao Hei's appearance, Zhuowen knew that Xiao Hei was probably powerless as well. After all, Xiao Hei's injuries were no better than Zhuowen's. She had used up too much of her origin energy in the battle with the Azure Emperor. Boom! Boom! Zhuowen spat out a palm strike and smashed into the surrounding black fog. Zhuowen felt as if he had fallen into a swamp. His entire body rebounded, and his face turned gloomy. Brat! Try the demonic Buddha body seed. This demonic Buddha body seed contains a powerful demonic Buddha power. Perhaps it can break through this black fog, Xiao Hei suddenly said. Hearing this, Zhuowen nodded. With a flick of his finger, the demonic Buddha body seed that was flickering with golden and black light appeared between his fingers. You have the nirvana power of the great sun in your body. Use this power to guide the Buddha power in the demonic Buddha body seed to break through the black fog, Xiao Hei instructed. Pest! Zhuowen pointed his right finger at the demonic Buddha body seed. Suddenly, a powerful Buddha power flowed into Zhuowen's body through the golden left side of the body seed. Boom! Feeling the powerful Buddha power, Zhuowen immediately unleashed the nirvana power of the great sun, forming a four-headed and eight-armed form. Then, Zhuowen transformed into a 100-feet-tall body in a golden light. His power was terrifying. He threw out a punch and the air exploded. Suddenly, the surrounding black fog rolled wantonly. The black fog was completely covered by the golden light. Crack! In an instant, the black fog turned into nothingness. Zhuowen waved his right hand and put the demonic Buddha body seed into his spirit ring. Then, he rushed toward the entrance of the valley. With the help of the demonic Buddha body seed's surging Buddha power, Zhuowen could temporarily unleash an attack that was comparable to a Xuanzuan realm expert. However, it could not last long. Therefore, after Zhuowen escaped from the black fog, he ran away. He did not want to be chased by Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng. At this moment, inside the stone cave, two figures came out side by side. Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng looked at each other. Their faces were not very good. Because in the stone cave, other than the broken pieces of the statue, there was nothing else. There must be a treasure in here. But now, there is only a pile of ruins. Needless to say, the treasure must have been taken away by that disciple of your clear void valley. Mo Ying snorted coldly. He took a step forward and rushed toward the tunnel. Zui Qingfeng's face was not very good either. He was the eldest senior brother of the clear void valley and was loved and respected by countless disciples. Generally speaking, if that junior brother of his had obtained a treasure, he would not have hidden it from him. However, the current situation made Zui Qingfeng somewhat unhappy. Thinking of this, Zui Qingfeng followed closely behind and rushed out of the tunnel. Not good. My black fog prison was broken. How is this possible? That guy is clearly only an ultimate three-wheel emperor. How could he have broken my black fog prison? In the tunnel, Mo Ying cried out in surprise. His face was filled with both shock and anger as he rushed forward at an even faster speed. Behind him, Zui Qingfeng naturally heard Mo Ying's words and his face was filled with disbelief. Mo Ying was an expert of the Xuanzuan realm after all. Breaking his black fog prison was not something an ultimate emperor could do. Moreover, the disciple who was trapped was only an ultimate three-wheel emperor. In an instant, Zui Qingfeng realized that there was definitely something wrong with that disciple. Swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng both arrived on the surface at the same time. The two of them discovered that the black fog that had trapped Zhuowen was no longer there and Zhuowen's figure had also disappeared. There really is something wrong with that guy. However, did he really think that my black fog prison was so easy to break? Mo Ying snorted coldly. He took a step forward and rushed toward the entrance of the valley. Zui Qingfeng looked pensive as he followed behind Mo Ying. At this moment, a considerable number of Clear Void Valley disciples had gathered at the entrance of the valley. They were all looking curiously into the valley but none of them dared to enter. Zhuowen silently blended into the crowd. When he had stealthily walked out of the valley, he had blended into the crowd of Clear Void Valley disciples. With the powerful effects of his 100 transformations technique, Zhuowen knew that it would be very difficult for Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng to find him in this crowd. Senior brother, I've finally found you. What happened in the valley? How could there be such a terrifying vibration? A short disciple suddenly rushed to Zhuowen's side and patted Zhuowen's shoulder as he asked with a smile. Turning his head, Zhuowen looked at the short disciple in front of him. He immediately recognized that this person was the junior brother who had been guarding the entrance of the valley at the beginning. Silently pulling the short disciple to a remote and inconspicuous corner, Zhuowen briefly told him what had happened in the valley. Zhuowen's performance naturally did not attract the attention of the other disciples. After all, the surrounding people were also discussing what had happened in the valley. The demon Daoist and Mo Ying of the Heavenly Peak Demon Palace have both come? How despicable. They actually dared to snatch the demon Buddha body tree from the hands of the sect master. How despicable. Hearing Zhuowen's story, the short disciple's face flushed red as he angrily muttered in a low voice. Swoosh swoosh. The sudden appearance of two figures in the valley attracted the attention of many disciples. When these disciples discovered that the ones who had appeared in front of them were actually Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng, their gazes revealed a strange expression. Looking at the appearance of these two people, it seemed that they had walked out of the valley together. Weren't the two of them engaged in a fierce battle just now? How come they were now at peace? Zhuowen's heart thumped. He pulled the short disciple and quietly hid in a crowded place with his head slightly lowered. He tried to restrain the aura in his body as much as possible. Do you really think you can escape from my palm? My black fog does not only have the effect of trapping people. Mo Ying looked down at the numerous disciples of the Clear Void Valley below. His cold voice slowly rang out as he continued, I'll give you a chance now. Take the initiative to come out and I can spare your life. Otherwise, when I find you later, everything will be too late. Mo Ying, don't be too arrogant. Our senior brother is still behind you. Yes. Mo Ying, you, a member of the Heavenly Peak Demon Palace, actually dares to shout in front of our Clear Void Valley. You're looking down on our Clear Void Valley too much, aren't you? Senior brother, this Mo Ying is unfilial. Let's take him down together. Mo Ying's actions undoubtedly aroused the indignation of the numerous Clear Void Valley disciples below. Sounds of gnashing teeth rang out one after another. They wanted nothing more than to capture Mo Ying. Mo Ying sneered, Hey, your senior brother still needs me to find the guy who stole the treasure. Why would he care about me? Mo Ying, don't be too arrogant. Quickly find the guy who stole the treasure. Zui Qingfeng's gaze was somewhat cold as he coldly said. He. Can't wait anymore. Mo Ying laughed mockingly. However, he no longer mocked and ridiculed. Instead, he waved his hands. Strands of black fog immediately gathered in his hands and finally turned into a crow. Go. Find that guy. Mo Ying's right hand loosened. The crow formed by the black fog spread its wings and flew towards the Clear Void Valley disciples below. After circling above for a while, It actually let out a cry and flew towards an unremarkable group of people. Finally, it stopped on the head of an unremarkable tall disciple. Senior brother? The short disciple beside Zhuowen looked at Zhuowen with some astonishment. The crow released from Mo Ying's hand had stopped on Zhuowen's head. Although the short disciple completely did not understand the situation, he also knew that the senior brother beside him, who he was familiar with, most likely did not do anything good in the valley. Otherwise, it would not have attracted the pursuit of Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Gazes gathered on Zhuowen's body. These gazes were filled with confusion, doubt, gloating and various other emotions. Hee. I've said it before. You can't escape from my palm. Die for me and hand over the treasure. Mo Ying laughed cruelly. With a step, he instantly arrived above Zhuowen. With a press of his right hand, countless black fog transformed into a huge black palm and pressed down on Zhuowen. It's over. This junior brother is finished. I don't know what kind of enmity he has with Mo Ying to make him personally attack. Chapter 899. White Brow Heavenly Sovereign released. Zhuowen's aura was clearly only that of an ultimate three-wheel emperor, while Mo Ying was a top genius of Yang City and an expert of the Xuanzuan realm. They were on completely different levels, so everyone looked at Zhuowen with pity. Zhuowen raised his head slightly, his long hair swaying in the wind. With a flick of his finger, the demonic Buddha body seed appeared in his hand once more. Zhuowen's cultivation had yet to recover. If he wanted to use the power of the Xuanzuan realm, he could only rely on the Buddhist energy within the demonic Buddha body seed. Great Sun Nirvana Fate. With a low shout, a golden light burst forth. Zhuowen transformed into a four-headed, eight-armed figure. His body continued to expand until he was 100 feet tall. Break! A thunderous voice rang out from Zhuowen's mouth, shooting straight into the clouds. His 8 arms struck out at the same time, carrying a terrifying might as they smashed towards the black palm. Bang! When the two collided, gold and black spread and exploded, dyeing the empty space in a strange gold and black color. Countless hurricanes swept out, causing the ground to crack like a ravine. Zui Qingfeng's complexion changed slightly. He stomped his foot and waved his right hand. A powerful wave of elemental energy shot out, pushing the nearby Clear Void Valley disciples away from the range of Mo Ying and Zhuowen's attacks. Boom! An explosive sound rang out. Soon after, everyone was shocked to discover that the demonic shadow's black palm had actually been annihilated. As for Zhuowen, who had transformed into a 300-meter-tall giant, he was forced to retreat dozens of steps. Every step he took caused the ground to tremble violently. Go! Zhuowen shouted. His 100-feet-tall figure instantly shrank. Then, 3 pairs of lightning wings unfurled on his back. He turned into a bolt of lightning and shot towards the dense forest. Want to leave? Not a chance. The demon shadow's gaze was sinister as he shouted coldly and chased after Zhuowen. He hadn't expected Zhuowen to be able to resist his attack, even though his opponent's aura was clearly only at the level of an ultimate three-wheel emperor. This was truly inconceivable. It wasn't just Mo Ying. Even the disciples of the Clear Void Valley on the ground had their mouths agape. Their faces were filled with disbelief. An ultimate three-wheel emperor-level disciple of their Clear Void Valley actually had the strength to resist Mo Ying. This was truly too shocking. The one who was most surprised was the short disciple. He knew the tall disciple very well, but now the tall disciple had displayed such a powerful strength that he was dumbfounded. When did senior brother become so powerful? The short disciple muttered to himself with a complicated look in his eyes. Zui Qingfeng, on the other hand, had a calm face. He turned into a ray of light and followed behind Mo Ying. Even though Zui Qingfeng was somewhat astonished by Zhuowen's powerful strength, in any case, Zhuowen's identity was now a disciple of their Clear Void Valley. Therefore, Zui Qingfeng felt embarrassed to make a move in front of so many junior brothers. An ultimate three-wheel emperor-level cultivator is able to resist the demon shadow of the Xuanzuan realm. This person must have relied on the unique treasure he obtained from the stone cave to accomplish this, Zui Qingfeng muttered to himself. Zui Qingfeng muttered to himself in a low voice, his eyes blazing. He knew that if his theory was correct, then the heavenly treasure would be extremely powerful. I, Zui Qingfeng, will definitely obtain this unique treasure at all costs. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 figures instantly swept across the dense forest and arrived above the open space where Wan Lingyu, Xiaoyang Pu, and the others had set up camp. Let's see where you're going to run off to. I've never seen anyone escape from me, Mo Ying. Mo Ying's cold voice resounded through the open space. It was like rolling thunder that constantly reverberated in the ears of Xiaoyang Pu and the others. What? It's actually the monstrous genius of the Celestial Peak Devil Palace, Missouri Ying? Who's that fleeing person in front of us? He actually provoked Mo Ying to chase after him? Leng Ying leapt to her feet. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. The others' expressions were similar to Leng Ying's. They all raised their heads to look at the sky. Sure enough, they saw Mo Ying shrouded in black fog and Zhuowen with 3 wings on his back several hundred meters in front of Mo Ying. Isn't that the middle-aged man who barged into the dense forest up ahead? Why is he wearing the Clear Void Valley's disciple uniform? Seeing Zhuowen's 3 pairs of lightning wings, many people in the open space recalled the sallow-faced middle-aged man who had barged into the Clear Void Valley without permission. Moreover, because Zhuowen was very far away from the open space, many people were unable to see Zhuowen's face. They could only see his back. This was also why they unanimously believed that the figure was a middle-aged man. Xiaoyang Pu's gaze slightly darkened. Those 3 pairs of lightning wings were not unfamiliar to him. Wasn't that the secret escape technique Zhuowen used? Xiaoyang Pu knew that the person being chased by Mo Ying was definitely Zhuowen. What a reckless fellow. He actually provoked Mo Ying. Now he's dead for sure. Xiaoyang Pu's gaze slightly shifted as he sneered in a low voice. Whoosh. Another figure flitted across the open space. This person was wearing a cyan robe with a jade-colored wine gourd hanging from his waist. His long hair was draped over his shoulders. Isn't this person Zui Qingfeng from the Clear Void Valley? Like Mo Ying, he's also in the top 5 of the Flame God list. Could it be that he's also chasing after that person? Zui Qingfeng flashed across the open space and immediately attracted the attention of the people in the open space. After recognizing Zui Qingfeng, the uproar in the open space became even more intense than before. Xiaoyang Pu was also unable to remain calm. What exactly did Zhuowen do to actually provoke 2 of the top 5 geniuses of Yang City, Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying, to chase after him at the same time? If this matter were to spread to Yang City, it would definitely cause a sensation. Hey! This Mo Ying's speed is actually so fast. Even if I use the 6 wings of wind and thunder, I still can't shake him off. Zhuowen's brows slightly knitted as his gaze slightly darkened. This Mo Ying's cultivation technique should be related to speed. This person's speed can be considered relatively fast in the Xuanzuan realm. Even though your 6 wings of wind and thunder is pretty fast, it's a pity that it's incomplete and can't display its true power. Xiao He arrived on Zhuowen's shoulder and said lightly, "Then what should I do? Being chased by this Mo Ying is not a solution." Zhuowen said somewhat anxiously, "Boy, take out the nascent soul of that old dog by my. This dragon lord will help you escape." Xiao He rolled his eyes and suddenly said. Although he was puzzled in his heart, Zhuowen still followed Xiao He's instructions. With a flick of his right hand, the nascent soul of the By My Heavenly Master immediately appeared in Zhuowen's hand. "Zhuowen, you damned fellow, how long are you going to seal my nascent soul?" The moment the nascent soul of the By My Heavenly Master was taken out, he cursed at Zhuowen. "Xiao He, what should I do next?" Zhuowen ignored the By My Heavenly Master and stared at Xiao He. A sinister smile appeared on Xiao He's face as he chuckled. Even though that old dog By My Heavenly Master's physical body has been destroyed, the strength of this nascent soul is still pretty good. At the very least, it can display the strength of a supreme being. Let that old dog deal with the Mo Ying. You intend to release the seal on the By My Heavenly Master? Zhuowen's eyes flickered as he asked somewhat awkwardly. He knew that if he did that, the By My Heavenly Master would be the first to deal with Zhuowen. At that time, he would be in a bad situation. That's why this Dragon Lord wants to personally train him. A lewd smile appeared on Xiao Hei's face, causing the By My Heavenly Master, who was being held in Zhuowen's hand, to feel a chill run down his spine. I'm telling you, Zhuowen, if you dare touch me, I won't let you off in the future. The By My Heavenly Master shouted coldly. Idiot. Zhuowen could not be bothered with Celestial Master Whitebrow. Instead, he handed him over to Blackie. Blackie chuckled and stretched out his little paw. A wisp of black mist spread out and entered the ball of light. Then, it flew toward Celestial Master Whitebrow's nascent soul. Whitebrow Heavenly Venerable roared. He knew that the black mist was definitely not something good. He quickly hid in the ball of light and did not let it get close. Unfortunately, Whitebrow Heavenly Venerable's nascent soul power had been sealed and he was powerless. In the end, he was still invaded by the black mist. Zhuowen, I must kill you, I must. The By My Heavenly Master's eyes suddenly turned incomparably black, and he kept shouting that he wanted to kill Zhuowen. Kid, remove the seal on the white-browed old dog's body. Blackie smirked. Looking at the By My Heavenly Master who was clamoring to kill Zhuowen, Zhuowen's head was full of black lines. This fellow was talking about killing him, Zhuowen. Was it really okay to release the seal now? Don't worry, this By My Heavenly Master won't attack you. Xiao Hei said again. Although Zhuowen felt that Xiao Hei's words were a little unreliable, he could only trust him for now. Then, he pointed his right hand at the ball of light, and the seal that he had placed on the By My Heavenly Master's nascent soul was immediately released. Boom! A terrifying aura spread out. It was the pressure of a Heavenly Master. Although the By My Heavenly Master's physical body had been destroyed and he was only left with his nascent soul, he was still a Heavenly Master after all. His former power naturally still existed. Once the seal on the By My Heavenly Master was released, Zhuowen hurriedly hid far away like a mouse that had seen a cat. What a strong aura. This aura is comparable to the Palace Masters. Could there be a Heavenly Master nearby? Mo Ying, who was originally chasing behind, naturally felt the terrifying aura from the By My Heavenly Master. He paused, and a trace of surprise appeared on his face. Zhuowen, I must kill you today. I must tear you into pieces and let you die a horrible death. A roar filled with hatred came from the ball of light in front of him. Then, the ball of light continued to expand, and finally became as tall as a person. At a glance, there was an old man with white hair and a white beard in the ball of light. However, this old man's eyes were pitch black, and he looked exceptionally strange. Mo Ying's body trembled. He naturally felt the pressure that was like heaven's might from before. It was naturally emitted from the old man in the ball of light in front of him. Senior, I did not mean to offend you. Our target is that guy. Please forgive me and let me pass. Mo Ying cupped his hands politely, and his eyes were filled with fear. Zhuowen, do you think I don't recognize you? Even if you turn into ashes, I will know that you are Zhuowen. Die. The By My Heavenly Master's pitch-black eyes stared straight at Mo Ying, causing the latter's hair to stand on end. Was this old man crazy? What Zhuowen or Zhuowen? He did not know this person at all. Senior, you might have mistaken me for someone else. I am Mo Ying, not the Zhuowen you speak of, Mo Ying said politely again. Bastard, I will recognize you even if you turn into ashes. Today, I want you to die. Die. Chapter 900. Joining hands. Mo Ying's eyes were extremely gloomy, especially when he saw Heavenly Venerate Whitebrow rushing over. His heart sank to the bottom. After all, Mo Ying was a monstrous genius of the Celestial Peak Demon Palace. Naturally, he was knowledgeable. He could tell at a glance that the old man before him wasn't a true Heavenly Venerate, but a Heavenly Venerate's nascent soul. However, even a Heavenly Venerate's nascent soul could unleash more power than his Xuanzuan realm. Therefore, Mo Ying was very cautious. What's the origin of that guy? He even has a Heavenly Venerate's nascent soul? After the shock, Mo Ying was even more puzzled. He was even more puzzled about the origin of Zhuowen, who was standing behind Heavenly Venerate Whitebrow. Boom! A muffled sound reverberated in the sky. Heavenly Venerate Whitebrow arrived in an instant. He stretched out his skinny palm and terrifying yuan power filled the air. It turned into an endless gale that strangled Mo Ying. Demonic shadow world. Mo Ying roared and split into thousands of clones. His speed soared to the extreme as he retreated. Bang! 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 After all, Heavenly Venerate Whitebrow was once a Heavenly Venerate. Although he was only a nascent soul now, he still had the might of a Heavenly Venerate. He was much stronger than Mo Ying. Seeing Mo Ying split into thousands of clones, Heavenly Venerate Whitebrow flipped his right hand. The gale gathered around his palm turned into thousands of wisps and shot towards Mo Ying's clones. In the blink of an eye, Mo Ying's clones were annihilated under the attack of the gale. Only his real body was left, which turned around and retreated. Zhuo Wen's eyes flickered as he stared at the white-browed Heavenly Venerate, who had unleashed his might, not far behind the white-browed Heavenly Venerate. His heart was filled with doubt. From the white-browed Heavenly Venerate's performance, it seemed that he had mistaken the demonic shadow for Zhuo Wen. Xiao He, what did you do to Whitebrow Heavenly Lord just now? Zhuowen suddenly asked Little River, who was still laughing mischievously on his shoulder. Xiao He chuckled and said, I just did something to the old dog's nascent soul. At this moment, the old dog won't even notice our existence. Besides us, anyone who appears in front of him will be treated as the person he hates the most, which is you, Zhuowen. Zhuowen rubbed his nose. Looking at Celestial Master Whitebrow's behavior just now, Zhuowen could feel his intense hatred for him. This hatred even made Zhuowen's heart palpitate a little. Moreover, Zhuowen had a new understanding of Xiao He's methods. Although Xiao He was sometimes unreliable, the methods she occasionally used were rather practical and powerful. Whoosh! At this moment, Zui Qingfeng also arrived and landed beside Mo Ying. When he saw Mo Ying's somewhat miserable appearance, he couldn't help but reveal a trace of surprise in his eyes. You're in such a sorry state because of an ultimate three-wheel Emperor Realm cultivator? Zui Qingfeng said meaningfully. Bullshit. Zui Qingfeng, take a look at that old man in front of us. Mo Ying couldn't help but be angered by Zui Qingfeng's words. He pointed his right hand at Whitebrow Heavenly Lord and shouted. After Mo Ying's reminder, Zui Qingfeng's gaze also landed on Whitebrow Heavenly Lord. At the same time, he also noticed Zhuowen behind Whitebrow Heavenly Lord, who was still calm and composed. Heavenly Lord Realm Expert. Zui Qingfeng's pupils shrank as he felt the powerful aura from Whitebrow Heavenly Lord. To be more precise, it should be the nascent soul of a Heavenly Lord Realm Expert. Although his aura is terrifying, his strength should only be around the Supremacy Realm. Zui Qingfeng, this person has many tricks up his sleeve. Not only did he seize the Stone Cave's treasure, he also has a Heavenly Lord nascent soul. This person can't be a disciple of your Clearvoid Valley. And looking at this person's appearance, there should be a lot of good things in his spirit ring. Let's join forces and take him down. How about we split the loot 50-50? Mo Ying stared at Whitebrow Heavenly Lord warily and secretly transmitted his voice to Zui Qingfeng beside him. Heavenly Lord Nascent Soul? This person's wealth is really not small. However, the dignified Evildor of the Heavenly Peak Devil Palace actually wants to join forces with me. Weren't you very arrogant before? Why have you become so timid now? Zui Qingfeng narrowed his eyes and lightly mocked. He stepped forward and placed his hands behind his back. His gaze passed Whitebrow Heavenly Lord and landed on Zhuowen. He asked indifferently, who exactly are you? I think that with so many tricks up your sleeve, it's unlikely that you're a disciple of my Clearvoid Valley, right? Zhuowen smiled faintly. His face slowly squirmed and returned to his original appearance. He smiled and said, I think your Clearvoid Valley can't produce someone as bold as me, right? You're indeed bold. Since you know that I'm from the Clearvoid Valley, you should know the power of the Clearvoid Valley in Yang City, right? Now I'll give you a chance. Hand over your spirit ring and tie your hands to return to the Clearvoid Valley. Perhaps our sect master will be lenient and spare your life. Zui Qingfeng said arrogantly. Zhuowen sneered and said, You want me to hand over my spirit ring and tie my hands to return to the clear void valley with you? I say, Zui Qingfeng, you're an influential figure in Yang City, a monstrous genius of the clear void valley. Why do you have a pig's brain? If you were me, would you agree to this request? Zui Qingfeng's gaze was dark. He said coldly, you have guts. You clearly know that we're from the clear void valley, yet you still dare to be so unbridled. I really don't know where your courage comes from. Where's my courage coming from? Xiao He, let this arrogant Zui Qingfeng experience our courage. Zhuowen suddenly said to Xiao He. He. Of course. This Zui Qingfeng is too arrogant. This dragon lord doesn't like looking at him. Xiao He grinned. With a wave of his little paw, a ray of light shot out and entered the white-brow Empyrean's forehead. This caused the white-brow Empyrean's eyes to become even more terrifying. Zhuowen. You little bastard, I'll definitely kill you. Die. The white-brow Empyrean seemed to have gone mad as he rushed towards Zui Qingfeng. Terrifying elemental energy exploded, wanting to completely kill Zui Qingfeng. Clear void sword technique, sect returning swords. Zui Qingfeng's eyebrows twitched. He pointed the sword fingers of his right hand and countless sword shadows condensed in the air. Then, these sword shadows merged into one and turned into a gigantic sword light that was several hundred feet long. It slashed down from the sky. Scram! The white-brow Empyrean's black eyes were filled with killing intent. With a low shout, his hands formed into claws and pushed upwards. A pair of huge eagle claws met the wind and heavily smashed onto the gigantic sword light. Catcher! The gigantic sword light seemed to be extremely powerful, but it only lasted for 3 breaths of time under the eagle claws. Then, under Zui Qingfeng's horrified gaze, it completely shattered. With a muffled groan, Zui Qingfeng retreated again and again until he was several hundred meters away. His eyes were extremely gloomy. Although the white-brow Empyrean sovereign's body had been destroyed, he was still a nascent soul cultivator. Zui Qingfeng was no match for him at all. Die! The white-brow Empyrean spread out his claws and turned into a gust of wind. Zhuowen rushed towards Zui Qingfeng without any regard for his own safety. That terrifying gust of wind almost tore the surrounding space apart. Zui Qingfeng's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly shouted at Mo Ying, who was not far away, Mo Ying, why don't you join forces to deal with this old fellow? Don't you want that rare treasure on that person's body? With just our strength alone, it'll be difficult to spit out this old fellow's defensive line. Mo Ying's lips suddenly curled into a mocking smile. He smiled faintly and said, the great clear void valley disciple Zui Qingfeng, weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you asking me for help now? Hearing this, Zui Qingfeng almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. This Mo Ying was clearly taking revenge on Zui Qingfeng for mocking him just now. Boom boom boom. The white-brow Empyrean seemed to have gone mad. He attacked Zui Qingfeng without any regard for his life. Terrifying elemental energy exploded, causing the surrounding space to become slightly unstable. As for Zui Qingfeng, he was unable to speak. His cultivation was only in the Xuanzuan realm. How could he be a match for the white-brow Empyrean? If not for his battle prowess far surpassing that of ordinary Xuanzuan realm cultivators, he would have already been killed by the white-brow Empyrean. However, even so, Zui Qingfeng was still fiercely suppressed. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face became incomparably pale. Especially when he saw Mo Ying, who was watching the show from the side, he shouted angrily, Mo Ying, if you don't come to help, I, Zui Qingfeng, will immediately turn around and leave. You can face this old fellow alone. Mo Ying also knew that there must be a limit to what he could do. He nodded, took a step forward, and came to Zui Qingfeng's side. He spat out a palm, and a force of black mist spread out and blasted towards the white-brow Empyrean. Bang! When Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng joined forces, their power instantly surpassed the previous one. They actually managed to force the white-brow Empyrean to retreat. Don't hold back. Let's end this quickly. With the strength of the two of us, fighting against a supreme stage Empyrean nascent soul cultivator is a piece of cake. Mo Ying said coldly. He waved his right hand, and the black mist on the surface of his body suddenly tumbled and surged into his right hand. At the same time, the black mist dissipated, revealing Mo Ying's true appearance. Mo Ying was dressed in black, and his face was as pale as snow. His eyes were filled with a scarlet color and emitted a bloodthirsty glow. The black mist gathered in Mo Ying's palm, and turned into a black long sword that was about 10 feet long. This long sword was surrounded by a strange black mist, and it looked extremely strange. Zui Qingfeng nodded. He patted his waist with his right hand, and the jade wine gourd hanging from his waist suddenly expanded to about 10 feet in size. Then, he pulled out the cork with his right hand, and a faint blue liquid gushed out from the gourd, turning into a huge water python around him. Kill! The two of them shouted in unison. Mo Ying waved the black long sword in his right hand, and a huge black sword shadow suddenly appeared in the void. It cut through the air, and mercilessly slashed towards the white-brow Empyrean. Zui Qingfeng formed a seal with both hands, and the huge water python followed behind the black long sword. It spat out its scarlet tongue and rushed towards the white-brow Empyrean at the same time. Rumble! The white-brow Empyrean shouted. He flipped his hands and raised them up. Terrifying yuan power poured out, turning into 2 huge eagle claws, and met the attack. Chapter 901. Defeat. Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying also revealed a trace of joy. The two of them were the top geniuses of Yang City, and their fighting strength was naturally extraordinary. The fighting strength that they could unleash after joining forces had exceeded their expectations. Kid, our Heaven Peak Devil Palace will give you a chance. As long as you hand over your spirit ring and unique treasure, we will let you leave this place safely. How about it? Although Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng were able to suppress Whitebrow Heavenly Master for a while, it would take them a lot of time to completely defeat him. During this time, Zhuowen could easily escape. Therefore, Mo Ying's tone slowed down. Zhuowen suddenly smiled and said sarcastically, "I should be the one saying that." "Oh, what do you mean? The current situation is already very clear. This exalted celestial Yuanying cannot do anything to the two of us, but you must know that you are alone, while the two of us have the support of the Heavenly Peak Devil Palace and the Clear Void Valley. Offending us is not a wise choice." Mo Ying frowned. Zhuowen shook his head again. Suddenly, he flicked his finger and a palm-sized ball of light appeared in his palm. This ball of light also had a little person inside. It was actually another Heavenly Master's nascent soul. "Zhuowen, it really is you, kid. How long are you going to seal me?" The little person in the ball of light stared at Zhuowen and roared. "Heavenly Master Yellow Serpent, don't worry, I will let you out now." After saying that, Zhuowen gave Xiaohei a look. Xiaohei understood. He extended his little claws and grabbed Empyrean Huangjiao's head. A dark black energy entered the space between his eyebrows. Empyrean Huangjiao didn't even make a sound. His eyes became as dark as Empyrean Huangjiao's. "What? This guy has a Heavenly Master's nascent soul? How is that possible? Where did he get a Heavenly Master's nascent soul?" Mo Ying's expression stiffened. His expression had already become extremely unsightly. There were only 2 heavenly venerables in their celestial Peak Devil Palace. Previously, when Zhuowen took out Whitebrow Empyrean nascent soul, he was already extremely shocked. But now, this Zhuowen was like magic, taking out another Empyrean nascent soul. This method was too heaven-defying. After all, if these 2 heavenly venerate nascent souls had not been destroyed, they would be heavenly venerates with monstrous strength. They would be considered all-powerful existences in Yang City. However, they had now appeared in the hands of a mere third-wheel ultimate emperor stage cultivator. If the demonic shadow knew that Zhuowen didn't just have 2 Empyrean nascent souls, but 5, who knew what sort of expression the demonic shadow would have? Zui Qingfeng was also shocked. Their Clear Void Valley did not have many heavenly venerables. They were on par with the Heavenly Peak Devil Palace. The shock in his heart was no less than Mo Ying's. "Go." After Zhuowen opened the seal on Empyrean Yellowbone naturally had the same reaction as Whitebrow Empyrean. He cursed Zhuowen as a son of a bitch and charged towards Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng. Seeing Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone and Empyrean Yellowbone cursing him while mercilessly attacking Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying, Zhuowen couldn't help but feel strange. Boom boom boom. With the addition of Empyrean Yellowbone, the battle instantly turned upside down. Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng, who were originally suppressing Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone, were completely defeated. Both of them were in an extremely difficult situation. Poochie. Poochie. Two muffled groans sounded. Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng both spat out mouthfuls of blood and were sent flying. Go! Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng shouted and flew in the direction they were sent flying. They turned into two rays of light and tried to escape. Where do you think you're going? Zhuowen, you must leave your life behind today. Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone and Empyrean Yellowbone roared and chased after Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying. Their speed wasn't slow either and they caught up with Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng in an instant. Empyrean Yellowbone's right hand clasped Mo Ying's right arm, wanting to completely detain him. Scram! Mo Ying roared and waved the black long sword in his right hand. Countless black rays shot towards Empyrean Yellowbone's forehead. Empyrean Yellowbone's eyes were cold. He pressed down with his right hand and his elemental energy turned into a vortex that blocked in front of him. The black rays were directly crushed by the vortex. You can't escape. I won't be at ease if you don't die. Empyrean Yellowbone sneered. His eyes were filled with a cruel light. His other hand clawed at Mo Ying's head. The elemental energy contained in this claw was extremely terrifying. If Mo Ying didn't dodge, he would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. Unfortunately, Mo Ying's right arm was now clasped by Empyrean Yellowbone. It wouldn't be easy for him to completely escape Empyrean Yellowbone's grasp. Damn it! You remember this. Mo Ying roared and swung the black long sword in his left hand. With a poochie sound, Mo Ying's right arm was cut off. Then, Mo Ying let out a miserable howl and turned into a black shadow that disappeared into the horizon. Zui Qingfeng was in an even more sorry state than Mo Ying. He was basically unable to resist Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone's attack. Naturally, Zui Qingfeng also noticed Mo Ying's miserable howl. When he saw Mo Ying cut off his right arm in order to escape, Zui Qingfeng's face turned extremely ugly. He knew that once Mo Ying escaped, Empyrean Yellowbone would definitely join forces with Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone to hunt him down. At that time, it would really be difficult for him to escape. Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone took advantage of Zui Qingfeng's distraction and slammed his palm into Zui Qingfeng's chest, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and fly backwards. You remember this. Our clear void valley will not let you off. Zui Qingfeng glared fiercely at Zhuowen in the distance. Then, he took out a jade leaf from his bosom. Waves of green light wrapped around Zui Qingfeng. Then, Zui Qingfeng turned into a wisp of illusory wind and disappeared on the spot. Hey! That was teleportation. Seeing Zui Qingfeng disappear thousands of miles away in an instant, Zhuowen's eyes narrowed and he muttered in a low voice. Zhuowen, let's see where you can run to. Empyrean Yellowbone and Whitebrow Empyrean Yellowbone roared at the same time. They actually planned to chase after Zui Qingfeng who was escaping. Come back. Xiao He coldly snorted and waved his little paw. Empyrean Yellowbone and Empyrean Yellowbone both hugged their heads and struggled in pain, as if they were enduring intense pain. Boy, seal these two guys again. This dragon lord can't control them for too long, Xiao He said to Zhuowen solemnly. Nodding, Zhuowen instantly arrived in front of Empyrean Yellowbone and Empyrean Yellowbone. The two of them were enduring some kind of intense pain and didn't notice Zhuowen's approach at all. Zhuowen pointed his hands at the space between their eyebrows. Wisps of sealing power spread out and the two of them were sealed in a ball of light by Zhuowen. Inside the ball of light, Celestial Venerate Whitebrow and Celestial Venerate Huang Jiao had also regained their clarity of mind. They noticed that something was amiss and glared at Zhuowen as they said coldly, Zhuowen, what did you do to us just now? Zhuowen couldn't be bothered with the two of them. He stuffed Empyrean Yellowbone into his spirit ring and lifted Empyrean Yellowbone in his hand, continuously absorbing the surging energy from Empyrean Yellowbone. Zhuowen had consumed a lot of energy from being chased by Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng, so he needed to replenish his energy. Empyrean Yellowbone naturally became Zhuowen's replenishment elixir. Empyrean Yellowbone screamed in the ball of light, trying to stop Zhuowen from absorbing his nascent soul energy, but it was useless. Pitiful Empyrean Whitebrow. Not only did he have to become Zhuowen's scapegoat and fight in Zhuowen's place, but after the battle was over, Zhuowen would deprive him of the strength of his nascent soul so that he could recover and cultivate. However, Empyrean Yellowbone asked for it. After all, he had schemed to kill Zhuowen, so Zhuowen naturally wouldn't be polite to him. After the Yuan power in his body had almost recovered, Zhuowen stuffed Empyrean Yellowbone's nascent soul into his spirit ring and disappeared into the dense forest. Now that Zhuowen had obtained the spirit ring, Zhuowen should be able to completely recover his strength in a short period of time by relying on the resources in the spirit ring. After recovering his strength, Zhuowen planned to go to Yang City and see if he could find a way to Joshan Academy. Now, what Zhuowen needed to do was find a secluded place to start a retreat to recover his strength. Ah! Suddenly, a heart-wrenching scream rang out in the sky above Xiaoyang Pu and the others. Xiaoyang Pu and the others were startled and looked towards the source of the scream. Swoosh! Mo Ying flew out from above Xiaoyang Pu and the others. Fresh blood flowed down from the wound on his right arm, filling the air with a pungent smell of blood. That's Mo Ying from Heaven Peak Devil Palace. He seems to have lost an arm and his injuries are very serious. Someone on the empty ground suddenly spoke, a trace of disbelief in his voice. Mo Ying was extremely famous in Yang City. There were very few existences among the younger generation who could fight against him. Only an expert from the older generation could seriously injure Mo Ying. It must have been done by the person that Mo Ying was chasing. Who exactly is that person? He's actually so terrifying that even Mo Ying lost an arm. Discussions broke out in the crowd, while Xiaoyang Pu's face darkened. He knew the identity of the person that Mo Ying was chasing. It was Zhuowen, who had snatched his spirit ring from him. However, Zhuowen was clearly only at the ultimate three-wheel emperor stage. How did he manage to injure Mo Ying to such an extent? Swoosh! Before the crowd could react, a gust of wind appeared near the empty ground. Then, Zui Qingfeng's miserable figure landed near Xiaoyang Pu and the others. Ugh! Zui Qingfeng spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale as he knelt on the ground with one knee. His breathing was shallow and hurried. Eldest senior brother? The Clear Void Valley disciples guarding the entrance of the forest naturally recognized Zui Qingfeng's miserable figure. They all helped him up, their eyes filled with worry. I'm fine. Help me into the valley. There are too many people here. Zui Qingfeng said in a low voice. Then, he led the Clear Void Valley disciples away. Looking at the heavily injured Zui Qingfeng, the shock on Xiaoyang Pu and the others' faces became even more intense. They never thought that even Zui Qingfeng would be in such a sorry state. Chapter 902. Search. At this moment, the battle between Demon Daoist and Qing Shu had already stopped. The two of them were quietly facing each other. Demon Daoist held the demon's sword with a cold expression. His aura was as stable as before. On the other hand, Qing Shu was in a sorry state. His aura was slightly chaotic. It was obvious that Demon Daoist had the upper hand in their battle. Qing Shu, is there still a need to fight? It's basically impossible for you to take the demon body tree from my hands. Demon Daoist said coldly. Qing Shu took a deep breath and said coldly, Demon Daoist, you've gone too far. I won't let this matter rest. Demon Daoist sneered. He was very clear about Qing Shu's character. Even though he was at a disadvantage in the battle, he still wanted to cover up his failure. He was a hypocrite who cared about his reputation. Whoosh! A sound of breaking air rang out. Then, Mo Ying arrived beside Demon Daoist in a sorry state. His face was extremely pale. Qing Shu and Demon Daoist naturally noticed Mo Ying's sorry state. Their faces were filled with astonishment. Didn't Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng go to the valley to find the source of the black light pillar? Why was Mo Ying in such a sorry state? Hee. Your Heavenly Peak Demon Palace's #1 genius is only SOSO. He can't be compared to our Clear Void Valley's Zui Qingfeng. Qing Shu's eyes were filled with pride. After seeing Mo Ying's sorry state, he instantly thought that Mo Ying's injuries were caused by Zui Qingfeng. In this area, other than Qing Shuzi and Demon Dao Zi, there was basically no one who was a match for Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng, the two monsters of Great Yang City. Since Mo Ying was injured so badly, perhaps only Zui Qingfeng had the ability to do so. Demon Daoist didn't answer. His right hand tapped on Mo Ying's right arm and instantly sealed several major acupoints. Then, he sent out his palm energy and a pitch-black energy entered Mo Ying's right arm. Ah! Mo Ying roared in pain. That pitch-black energy was Demon Daoist's demonic energy. When this energy entered his body, it was as painful as being bitten by thousands of ants. Even though Mo Ying's mind was firm, he was still tortured by this extreme pain and almost fainted. Endure the pain and don't faint. I will now reconstruct your right arm. If you faint, then all my previous efforts will be wasted. Master Demon said indifferently. The demonic shadow clenched his teeth and forcefully endured the pain. He only let out a low roar. Poochie. At the wound on the demonic figure's right arm, strands of black veins squirmed continuously. Then, with a tearing sound, a strange black arm grew out. His severed arm grew back. Qing Shu's eyes narrowed as he looked at Master Demon with even more dread. Back in Yang City, Master Demon was a famous madman. In order to pursue great power, he entered the Tao with the devil. The side effects of entering the Tao as a demon were well known. If one was not careful and completely entered the Tao, they would become a great demon that had no consciousness and only knew how to kill. In the past, no one was optimistic about Master Demon's cultivation method. However, what happened later greatly exceeded everyone's expectations. Master Demon actually succeeded in entering the Tao as a demon. Moreover, he even controlled the thought of entering the Tao as a demon and grasped the powerful power of entering the Tao. Among the leaders of Yang City's 4 great sects, Demon Dao was the youngest. It had only been 30 years since his debut, but he was already on the same level as Qing Shuzi. In fact, his strength even surpassed Qing Shuzi. Ever since Master Demon grasped the power of entering the Tao, Qing Shu became more and more unable to see through Master Demon. In any case, this severed arm growing back wasn't something that Qing Shu could do himself. Many thanks, Palace Master. Looking at his right arm that had recovered to its original state, Mo Ying hurriedly bowed. His eyes were filled with passion and worship. Tell me, who did this to you? Master Demon asked indifferently with his hands behind his back. Actually, Demon Daoist also had some doubts in his heart. Mo Ying's strength wasn't weak, but to put Mo Ying in such a difficult situation wasn't something an ordinary person could do. Even Clear Void Valley's Zui Qingfeng wouldn't be able to do it. Who else could it be? Of course it's our Qing Shu Valley's Zui Qingfeng. Master Demon, do you think that there's another junior here who can pose a threat to Mo Ying aside from Zui Qingfeng? Qing Shu coldly ridiculed. There was a trace of pride in his eyes. Just now, he had been reduced to such a sorry state by Master Demon. Now that he was able to get it back on a junior, it could be considered as getting back some face for Qing Shu. At this moment, several Qing Shu Valley's disciples were supporting a rather sorry figure as they walked into the valley. This sorry figure was Zui Qingfeng, who had fled for his life. After all, Zui Qingfeng had taken a direct hit from the Whitebrow Heavenly Sovereign's attack. His injuries weren't light. Although they weren't as serious as Mo Ying's severed arm, his internal injuries were quite serious. This caused Zui Qingfeng to be unable to stand steadily. Qingfeng. Qing Shu's eyes widened. Naturally, he saw Zui Qingfeng, who was being supported by the Qing Shu Valley's disciples. A trace of emotion appeared on his face. Qing Shu. Your Qing Shu Valley's Zui Qingfeng doesn't seem to be any better. Why do you say that Mo Ying was injured by Zui Qingfeng? I think there's no difference between the two. Master Demon said indifferently. Mo Ying had an arm severed by Qingfeng. Even if he was seriously injured, the strength of your Heaven Peak Devil Palace's Mo Ying is clearly weaker than Qingfeng. Qing Shu said indifferently. Master Demon frowned. Qing Shu was right. To be able to sever Mo Ying's arm, logically speaking, Zui Qingfeng should have the upper hand. Otherwise, Mo Ying wouldn't have lost an arm. The truth isn't like that. Zui Qingfeng isn't qualified, nor does he have the strength to sever my right arm. Mo Ying suddenly snorted coldly. Then what happened? Master Demon asked with some interest. Hearing Master Demon Dao's question, Demon Shadow didn't hide anything and told him everything that happened just now in full detail. As for Master Demon and Master Qing Shu, the more they heard, the more shocked they became. A three-wheel Ultimate Emperor Realm cultivator was actually able to withstand Mo Ying's attack, and he even had 2 Empyrean nascent souls. In addition, the mysterious youth had also obtained an incredible treasure from beneath the Buddha demon body tree. After listening to Mo Ying's description, Qing Shuzi and Demon Daoz's interest was piqued. They had never heard of such a person in Yang City. Qingfeng. Is what Mo Ying said true? Qing Shu looked at Zui Qingfeng and asked. Zui Qingfeng nodded and didn't deny it. That youth definitely has some secrets on him. Master Demon, why don't you and I work together and search this forest? Perhaps we can find that mysterious youth. At that time, we can split the secrets we obtain. Master Qing Shu suddenly threw out an olive branch to Master Demon. After hearing that the mysterious youth could take out 2 heavenly Venerate Yuanying, Qing Shu couldn't remain calm. A heavenly Venerate Yuanying was a great supplement. If Qing Shu could obtain a heavenly Venerate Yuanying, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Unfortunately, heavenly Venerate experts were extremely powerful. Even Qing Shu was only at the mid-heavenly Venerate realm. He simply didn't have the ability to kill a heavenly Venerate expert. Moreover, which heavenly Venerate expert in Yang City didn't have a powerful background? It was even more impossible to kill one. Therefore, Qing Shu was very clear about how rare a heavenly Venerate Yuanying was. Therefore, Qing Shu temporarily put aside his prejudice against Master Demon and invited him to search for the mysterious youth together. Demon Daoz's eyes flickered as he revealed a shocked expression. Demon Daozi didn't feel anything about that so-called unique treasure. After all, he had already obtained the Buddha demon body tree. No matter how precious that unique treasure was, it couldn't be more precious than the Buddha demon body tree. What he cared about was the heavenly Venerate Yuanying. It was a fatal attraction to him. It could greatly shorten the time he needed to cultivate. After all, after one's cultivation reached the heavenly Venerate realm, even if one was an extremely talented genius, it wasn't that easy to advance a small realm. If one didn't have any fortuitous encounters and just followed the prescribed path, it was unknown when one would be able to cultivate to the peak of the heavenly Venerate realm. And from the peak of the heavenly Venerate realm to the Emperor realm, it was even more difficult. There were some geniuses who were trapped in the Emperor realm for hundreds and thousands of years. When the day came, they would be stuck at the peak of the heavenly Venerate realm and die unwillingly. After pondering for a moment, Master Demon nodded and said, "All right. However, this forest is too vast. Wanting to find a youth here is like looking for a needle in a haystack. I'm afraid it won't be that easy, right? The 2 of us are heavenly Venerates. With our perception, we can completely search the entire forest in a short period of time. That mysterious youth can't have gone far. If the 2 of us are fast enough, we can definitely find him," Qing Shu said with confidence. "In that case, we can give it a try." Then, Master Demon said to Mo Ying, "You go back first. The injuries on your body are quite serious. It's not suitable for you to fight. Go back and recuperate." Mo Ying cupped his hands. He didn't hesitate in the slightest. He turned into a black shadow and left the forest. As for Zui Qingfeng, under Qing Shu's orders, he was taken away by several Clear Void Valley disciples who weren't weak. He returned to the sect to recuperate. As for the other Clear Void Valley disciples in the forest, they all left the forest under Qing Shu's orders. As for Zhuowen's appearance and special aura, Zui Qingfeng and Mo Ying had already recorded it in the jade slips they carried with them. Therefore, the two of them weren't unfamiliar with Zhuowen's appearance and aura. Moreover, Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng emphasized that the mysterious youth had a secret technique to change his appearance. It was very difficult to find him just by relying on his appearance. They had to combine it with Zhuowen's aura. "Let's go. Let's not waste any more time," Master Demon said indifferently. He walked in a direction and used his enormous perception to sense whether or not the mysterious youth was hiding in the forest. If he found anyone suspicious, Master Demon would definitely be the first to act. Chapter 903. Buddha and Devil blend in one thought. The Clear Void Valley disciples have all retreated. What's going on up ahead? On the empty ground, Xiaoyang Pu and the others also saw the Clear Void Valley disciples guarding the entrance. After whispering a few words, they no longer blocked the path and left the area. Their faces were full of anxiety. Xiaoyang Pu and the others were full of confusion. They had waited on the empty ground for a few days and simply did not know what was going on up ahead. At this moment, they were even more confused. Since the Clear Void Valley disciples have all retreated, then we can also leave this place, Xiaoyang Pu said in a clear voice. Then, he came in front of the Ruan clan team and specially cupped his hands in front of Ruan Lingyu. He said with a smile, "Miss Ruan, why don't you come with us to Yang City this time? This way, we can take care of each other." Seeing Xiaoyang Pu's different attitude towards Ruan Lingyu, Commander Ruan and the others revealed a trace of joy. The Xiaoyang clan was very powerful in Yang City. If Ruan Lingyu could get closer to Xiaoyang Pu, it would be very beneficial for the Ruan clan. However, Leng Ying's pretty face became even colder. Her beautiful eyes were filled with traces of jealousy. However, this jealousy was well hidden by Leng Ying. Ruan Lingyu slightly lowered her head and said with a light nod, "If young Master Xiaoyang doesn't mind the weak strength of my Ruan clan team, Lingyu will not object." It seems that Miss Ruan has agreed. Xiaoyang Pu's eyes revealed a joyful expression. He said with a clear voice, "Then let's set off now." Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, two sounds of something breaking through the air suddenly rang out. Soon after, two imposing figures appeared above Xiaoyang Pu and the others. Moreover, these two people faintly revealed an aura that actually stirred the surrounding space. It was as if the entire world was trembling because of these two people. What a terrifying aura. Who are these two people? Why are their auras so terrifying? Leng Ying looked up at the two people in the sky. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Heavenly Peak Devil Palace Master Mo Daozi, Clear Void Valley Master Qing Shu. Xiaoyang Pu was experienced and knowledgeable. With a glance, he recognized the two figures that suddenly descended and could not help but cry out in surprise. And it was precisely these words from Xiaoyang Pu that caused a huge uproar in the group. No one had expected that these two people who had suddenly appeared were actually the true leaders of the Heavenly Peak Devil Palace and the Clear Void Valley. Whether it was Demon Daozi or Qing Shu, in the eyes of the majority of the warriors in Yang City, they were powerful and unreachable existences. In fact, in the hearts of many warriors, such overlords were simply unreachable. But now, these two magnates were right in front of them, and from the looks of it, they seemed to be looking for something. "I am Xiaoyang Pu of the Xiaoyang aristocratic family. Greetings to the two lords." Xiaoyang Pu hurriedly stepped forward and bowed to Demon Daoist and Qing Shu as he cautiously said, "I didn't expect to meet someone from the Xiaoyang family here." Qing Shu nodded at Xiaoyang Pu and said calmly. Master Demon was as indifferent as ever. He didn't even look sideways. Master Demon's attitude didn't cause any dissatisfaction. After all, Master Demon was infamous in Yang City. How could they dare to point fingers at Master Demon? "May I know the purpose of your visit?" Xiaoyang Pu bowed and continued. "He's not in this group," Master Demon said coldly. Qing Shu nodded. He had just checked and found that Zhuowen wasn't in Xiaoyang Pu's group. However, Qing Shu didn't leave. Instead, he waved his right hand and a jade slip appeared in his palm. "Kai." A ray of light shot out from the jade slip and a portrait appeared on top of the jade slip. He asked Xiaoyang Pu and the others, "Have you seen this person? If anyone can provide me with clues, Qingshu Valley won't mistreat them." "It's Zhuowen." A surprised voice rang out. Leng Ying and Ruan Lingyu were both staring at the portrait as they exclaimed in unison. Some of the people in the group who had seen Zhuowen before were also surprised. Obviously, they recognized the original owner of the portrait. You know this person?" Qingshu and Demon Daoz's expressions changed at the same time. Their gazes converged on Leng Ying and Ruan Lingyu. After all, these two women were the first to recognize him. At this moment, Xiaoyang Pu also reacted. He also recognized the owner of the portrait. His eyes flickered and no one knew what he was thinking. "You say it." Master Demon pointed at Leng Ying. His voice was still cold. Leng Ying was shocked and quickly stood up. However, her heart was extremely nervous and in a mess. She didn't know why the two giants of Yang City were looking for Zhuowen. Could it be that Zhuowen's identity was extraordinary? If Zhuowen's identity was extraordinary, Leng Ying's heart was even more nervous. After all, her attitude towards Zhuowen wasn't good. If Zhuowen's identity was extraordinary, the Ruan family might not be able to help her when he came looking for trouble. "Say it." Master Demon spat out another word. His voice was filled with an unquestionable tone. Leng Ying's delicate body trembled and she quickly said, "This Zhuowen is a youth that our Ruan family saved along the way. After our Ruan family stopped at this open space, Zhuowen disappeared without a trace. In fact, we are also looking for Zhuowen right now." Leng Ying naturally couldn't tell them about her snatching Zhuowen's spirit ring. She only gave a brief description of the situation. Master Demon's brows slightly knitted. After giving Leng Ying a cold glance, he stared at Ruan Lingyu and asked, "Is this girl right?" Ruan Lingyu's beautiful eyes flickered. She gritted her teeth and said, "Sister Leng Ying is right. Zhuowen disappeared without a trace last night. Even now, we still don't know where he went. It seems that Zhuowen is indeed not in this group. Master Demon, let's go search elsewhere. This time, we must capture this kid," Qingshu said to Master Demon. Master Demon nodded. Soon after, the two of them turned into two streaks of light and disappeared on the spot. They went to search elsewhere. After Qingshu and Master Demon left, the group let out a sigh of relief. However, they were even more puzzled in their hearts. They didn't know why the two overlords were looking for Zhuowen, who was merely an ultimate emperor realm cultivator. However, anyone with a discerning eye could tell that the two overlords were looking for Zhuowen for no good reason. After all, Qingshu had just said that he wanted to capture Zhuowen. Could it be that Zhuowen has some kind of treasure on him? He actually caused two overlords to search for him at the same time. Leng Ying's beautiful eyes flickered. She already had some guesses in her heart. Zhuowen's origin was unknown and his identity was mysterious. Moreover, it seemed like he was being hunted down. Now that Master Demon and Qingshu had personally come to search for him, Leng Ying knew that Zhuowen must have something on him that made Master Demon and Qingshu envious. Otherwise, the two overlords wouldn't join forces to search for a mere ultimate emperor realm cultivator. Swoosh! A silhouette flew through the dense forest like a nimble monkey. It was abnormally agile. "There's a natural cave up ahead. It's well hidden. Kid, you can go there and cultivate during this period of time." Xiao Hei's voice sounded in Yi Shiwen's ear. Zhuowen nodded and increased his speed. Before long, he arrived in front of the cave that Xiao Hei had mentioned. The cave was located at the bottom of a steep cliff. Moreover, there was a dense bush in front of the cave. If one didn't pay close attention, they wouldn't be able to discover the cave at all. This cave is indeed well hidden. It's very suitable for secluded cultivation. Zhuowen nodded when he arrived at the entrance of the cave. He was extremely satisfied with the hidden cave. After entering the cave, Zhuowen discovered that the cave was extremely deep. Moreover, it was slanted downwards. Hey! Could there be another world below this cave? After pondering for a moment, Zhuowen finally decided to go deeper into the cave. He wanted to see just what was at the end of the cave. Zhuoan soon arrived at the end of the cave. He soon discovered that there was another cave at the end of the cave. Moreover, this cave was exactly the same as the one under the demon Buddha Bodhi tree. Moreover, there was a statue at the center of this cave. Moreover, this statue's appearance was exactly the same as the one under the demon Buddha Bodhi tree. It was also the image of a young man. However, the only difference between this statue and the one in the cave was that one side of the statue wasn't covered in golden light while the other side was covered in demonic shadows. Instead, the golden Buddha and black demonic shadows were intertwined in this statue. They blended together like water and milk and appeared to be rather harmonious. Emptiness in a single thought. Buddha and demonic merge. Incarnation as ancient, heavenly Tao as divine. A faint voice resounded in the cave. However, this statue was much more peaceful than the one in the cave. After the voice rang out, there wasn't any earth-shattering phenomenon like before. What's going on with this statue? Zhuoan stared at the statue in front of him suspiciously. Regardless of whether it was the statue from before or this one, they both gave him a strange feeling. It's actually him. Xiao Hei's eyes narrowed as she softly muttered to herself. However, Xiao Hei's voice was very soft. Zhuoan's attention was completely focused on the statue in front of him. Therefore, he didn't hear Xiao Hei's words. Kid. There's a small indentation in between the statue's eyebrows. Didn't you obtain the demon Buddha body seed from the previous cave? Why don't you put it in and take a look? Suddenly, Xiao Hei smiled at Zhuoan. Hearing this, Zhuoan did indeed notice that there was a small indentation in between the statue's eyebrows. After taking out the demon Buddha body seed from his spirit ring, Zhuoan realized that the size of the body seed was just right for the indentation between the statue's eyebrows. Could it be a coincidence? With his eyes flickering, Zhuoan slowly pressed the demon Buddha body seed into the indentation between the statue's eyebrows. Swoosh! At that moment, the Buddha shadow and demon shadow that blended together on the surface of the statue in front of Zhuoan suddenly became clear. Then, the statue's tightly shut eyes slowly opened. In those eyes, there was the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, and the earth. It was as though there was a world inside. Staring at the pair of eyes, Zhuoan was instantly immersed in them. He was stunned on the spot and didn't move at all, just like a statue. I wonder what this guy left behind. In ancient times, this guy was as famous as Emperor Wind Thunder, the arrogant guy. Chapter 904. The Fighting Buddha Demon Saint. The boundless sky, the cracked earth, the barren weeds, the decadent ruins and the densely packed light spots in the air. When Zhuoan opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was the strange scene before him. Where is this? Looking at the strange scene before him, Zhuoan knitted his brows and the doubt in his eyes grew. He remembered that he was still in the underground cave. How did he end up in such a strange space? Boom! 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 Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Zhuoan was caught off guard and he staggered and almost fell to the ground. Two figures with heavenly might descended in the space. Zhuoan raised his head and looked at the two figures that suddenly descended. His eyes were filled with horror. Buddha and demon? Two huge figures. One was an ancient Buddha that was covered in golden light and the other was a demon with demonic shadows lingering around him. One Buddha and one demon, they quietly faced each other in the void. The ancient Buddha was peaceful while the demon went berserk. Kill. The demon stomped his foot and countless demonic chi burst out. Terrifying energy filled the air and caused the entire space to tremble. The demon instantly closed in on the ancient Buddha. He spat out his right palm and the demonic chi turned into a huge demon hand that pressed down on the ancient Buddha. The ancient Buddha was still as serene as ever. His originally squinted eyes slowly opened. A pair of golden Buddha eyes stared indifferently at the demon above. His pair of Buddha palms were put together as he slowly faced the demon above. The Buddha's light was as bright as the sun. Boom! The demonic chi and the Buddha's force instantly clashed. Golden light and black light intertwined in the entire space and created a dazzling golden black color. The sky was no longer blue and the earth was no longer brown. The golden-black color had already filled the entire space. Looking around, there were no other colors. In the golden-black light, the battle between the ancient Buddha and the demon instantly broke out. They fought from the sky to the ground, from the ground to the sky, and from the sky to the void. The Buddhist light and the demonic chi tangled with each other, neither giving way to the other. A terrifying power spread out, causing the sky to collapse, the earth to crack, and the entire space to disintegrate. Zhuowen was like an insignificant ant. He could only watch as the Buddha and the demon fought back and forth. They were too powerful. With a flip of their hands, the sky collapsed. With a flip of their hands, the earth cracked. This sort of horrifying power had Zhuowen shuddering in fear. At the same time, he had a strong desire for this sort of heavenly might. Even the heavens and earth had collapsed. This kind of power was simply unimaginable to Zhuowen in the past. It was too terrifying. The Buddha and the devil had boundless combat power, but no one could do anything to the other. This battle had lasted for so long that even the Buddha and the devil had forgotten about time. They were just fighting against each other mechanically. One thought to become a Buddha, another to become a devil. The Buddha and the devil cannot coexist, and the two thoughts will eventually turn to ashes. A sigh reverberated through the world. Following that, Zhuowen realized that the Buddha and the devil that were entangled in the void had all collapsed, turning into thumb-sized body seeds, one golden and one black. Buddha and the devil body seeds. Looking at the body seeds that the Buddha and the devil had turned into, Zhuowen's eyes narrowed. Naturally, he could recognize that this was the Buddha and the devil body seeds that he had obtained previously. Swoosh! An imposing figure suddenly darted out from a crack in the void. This person had delicate features and wore a white robe. He was a young bald monk. This monk put his palms together and looked at the Buddha and the devil body seeds that were floating in the air. He sighed softly and said, "The Buddha and the devil cannot coexist." As he muttered softly, the bald monk moved his right hand and took the Buddha and the devil body seeds into his hand. His clear eyes had a solemn look. No one knew what he was thinking about. The Buddha and the devil cannot coexist. The bald monk looked at the Buddha and the devil body seeds quietly and motionlessly. Light flowed in his eyes. Just like that, one day, 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, he looked at the Buddha and the devil body seeds like a statue. Gradually, half of the bald monk's body turned golden and the other half demonic. The two colors of gold and black flickered and changed on both sides of his body. Finally, the bald monk's motionless body suddenly moved. He held the Buddha and the devil body seeds in his right hand and slowly pressed them between his eyebrows. Boom! The moment the Buddha and the devil body seeds were pressed between his eyebrows, the golden light and demonic shadows on both sides of the young monk's body trembled. Then, they surged into his forehead and the young monk returned to his original state. His body no longer had the golden light and demonic shadows. Instead, it became spotless, like a lotus leaf that had emerged from the mud. However, the Buddha and the devil body seeds in between the young monk's eyebrows underwent a huge change. It turned into a strange eye that was half golden and half black. The golden light and black light flowed and changed in this eye. The Buddha and the devil eye appears. Ha ha! The young monk laughed loudly. The intersecting golden and black eye in between his eyebrows shot out a beam of golden and black light. It pierced through the sky and shattered the void. At the same time, not long after the young monk left, the space began to collapse. In the end, it turned into countless tiny dust particles. When Zhuowen came back to his senses, he looked at the statue in front of him and could not help but take a few steps back. At this moment, the Buddha and the devil body seeds in between the statue's eyebrows had undergone a huge change. It had turned into a golden and black eye. If one took a closer look, one would be able to see that the golden black eye contained a Buddha shadow and a demon shadow. Two stalwart figures were constantly clashing within the eye. It was a pair of destructive eyes that contained both the power of Buddha and the demon at the same time. Buddha and the devil eye? Is what happened in that space real? Zhuowen's eyes were filled with bewilderment. Whoosh! At this moment, Xiao He also landed on Zhuowen's shoulder. Her small eyes were filled with excitement. She muttered softly, "It's the Buddha and the devil eye." He actually left the Buddha and the devil eye behind. "Kid, your luck is here. You know about the Buddha and the devil eye?" Zhuowen could not help but ask when he saw Xiao Hei's expression. "I've only heard about it. In ancient times, there was a powerful Buddha and a demonic figure. The two were at odds with each other. Hence, a great war broke out. That war was so fierce that the sun and moon lost their light. Even the heavens collapsed. However, the strength of the Buddha and the demonic figure was similar. In the end, the Buddha and the demonic figure fell one after another and turned into the Buddha and the devil body seed. Later on, the Buddha and the devil body seeds were obtained by a Buddhist expert. This person was extremely talented and had a strange way of thinking. He had always been pursuing the power of the Buddha and the demonic figure. In other words, the ultimate destructive power of the fusion of the Buddha and the demonic figure. In the end, after 1,000 years of comprehension, he refined the Buddha and the devil body seeds into the powerful Buddha and the devil eye. At this point, Xiao Hei's face revealed a tinge of admiration. It was obvious that he admired the Buddhist expert. Then who is that expert? Zhuowen knew that the Buddhist expert that Xiao Hei was talking about should be the young monk in the space. This person entered the path of the Buddha and the demonic figure and gave birth to the Buddha and the devil eye. He could control the power of the Buddha and the demonic figure. He could even combine the power of the Buddha and the demonic figure to unleash a powerful force. This person was very famous in ancient times. His name was the Fighting Buddha Demon Saint. Kid. The Fighting Buddha Demon Saint was also a terrifying saint. He was as famous as Sir Godfeng Lei in ancient times. You should know that Sir Godfeng Lei possessed the holy symbol of Feng Lei and had a unique advantage. However, the Fighting Buddha Demon Saint relied on his own comprehension of the Buddha and the devil eye to contend with Sir Godfeng Lei. This showed that he was extraordinary. The two of them could be considered as the rising stars of the ancient era. Many people even thought that they were peerless monsters who could ascend to the divine realm. However, the great calamity 10,000 years ago completely changed the fate of the monstrous geniuses of that era. Blackie sighed. Zhuowen's face revealed a shocked expression. He did not expect the young monk to have such a powerful background. From the title of the Fighting Buddha Demon Saint, he could tell that this person was extraordinary. Kid. Because of this statue, the Buddha and the demon body seed has been completely transformed into the Buddha demon eye. You don't need to refine it anymore. Now, what you need to do is to transplant the Buddha demon eye into your glabella. If you succeed in the transplant, not only will your damaged sea of consciousness be completely restored, but you will also be able to control the power of the Buddha and the demonic figure. The benefits to you will be unimaginable. Zhuowen frowned and said with uncertainty, "Xiao Hei, are you sure that the transplant of the Buddha demon eye won't be dangerous?" "Nonsense. Of course there will be danger. If the transplant fails, your sea of consciousness will be completely destroyed and will never be able to recover." Xiao Hei rolled his eyes and continued, "However, it's a good thing that you have the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth on you. This thing has a very good protective effect for the transplant of the Buddha demon eye. It can greatly increase the success rate of the transplant. The Buddha and demon dual polarity earth can actually increase the success rate of the transplant of the Buddha demon eye?" Zhuowen asked in surprise. As he spoke, a piece of soil that was a mixture of gold and black appeared in Zhuowen's hand. It was the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth that Zhuowen had obtained previously. Place the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth near the glabella of the statue in front of you. The power of the Buddha demon eye is very terrifying. Without the help of the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth, you won't be able to withstand it. Xiao Hei said indifferently. Nodding his head, Zhuowen held the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth in his right hand and used his yuan power to make the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth adhere to the surface of his palm. Then, he reached into the glabella of the statue. Rumble. A terrifying Buddha and demon force flowed out, causing Zhuowen's right hand to feel numb. However, Zhuowen also realized that the Buddha and demon dual polarity earth that adhered to the surface of his palm was like a soft sponge, dissolving the Buddha and demon force. To be more precise, it absorbed the Buddha and demon force. Come out. Grabbing the Buddha demon eye, Zhuowen pulled it back. Instantly, the Buddha demon eye was pulled out by him. The golden black light immediately filled the entire cave. At the same time, the Buddha and demon shadows intertwined and circled around the cave. Zhuowen spread out his right hand, and the strange eye of the Buddha and the demonic shadow appeared at the same time, quietly lying in the center of his palm. The pupil of this eye also emitted a strange golden-black color. If one were to look at this pupil carefully, one would see a huge Buddha and demonic shadow in it. Swoosh. Chapter 905. Transplanting the Buddha demon. Zhuowen's eyes were filled with determination. His sea of consciousness had already been messed up by Emperor Qing and he could barely use any mental energy. On the other hand, the Buddha demon eye could help Zhuowen reconstruct his sea of consciousness. It could even make his sea of consciousness stronger. Moreover, even if it failed, the price would only be his sea of consciousness being completely destroyed. Zhuowen felt that this price was not too high. After all, his sea of consciousness was already in such a state and it was no different from being destroyed. Even if the transplanting of the Buddha demon eye failed, it wouldn't be a great loss to Zhuowen. In fact, what Zhuowen didn't know was that this price was under the premise that he had the Buddha and demon polarity earth. If he didn't have the Buddha and demon polarity earth to help offset the side effects of the Buddha demon eye, the price might not be so little. It might even endanger his life. Then let's begin. Xiaohei nodded. With a wave of her right hand, the Buddha and demon polarity earth on Zhuowen's palm immediately wrapped around the Buddha demon eye. Then, under Xiaohei's control, it slowly moved towards the center of Zhuowen's brows. Finally, the Buddha demon eye arrived at the center of Zhuowen's brows. Zhuowen only felt a sharp pain between his brows. Then, he could clearly feel that the Buddha and demon polarity earth that wrapped around the Buddha demon eye was slowly moving towards the center of Zhuowen's brows. Fine beads of sweat dripped down from Zhuowen's forehead. Zhuowen's body was also constantly trembling. His face was pale and bloodless, as if he was a bedridden patient. Kid. The process of transplanting the Buddha demon eye is extremely slow and extremely important. If there's even the slightest bit of negligence, all the previous efforts will be wasted. Therefore, you have to endure it and don't pass out halfway. Xiaohei's cautious voice once again resounded in Zhuowen's mind. Hearing this, Zhuowen nodded. He gritted his teeth and endured the sharp pain between his brows, maintaining a clear mind at all times. Just as Zhuowen was transplanting the Buddha demon eye in the cave, the faces of Demon Daozi and Qing Shu in the air above the dense forest weren't looking too good. The two of them had been searching this dense forest for an entire day and night. With their speed, they had practically searched the entire dense forest several times, but they still couldn't find any traces of Zhuowen. Looks like Zhuowen should have left this forest. Qing Shu, I won't accompany you to search here. Goodbye. Master Demon coldly glanced at Master Qing Shu beside him. After saying this, he simply left the forest. It was clear that Master Demon didn't want to waste his efforts. Qing Shu's expression was extremely ugly. Because Demon Daoist had obtained the Buddha demon body tree from him, this could be considered a great harvest. Therefore, his desire for Zhuowen was not as strong as before. However, Qing Shu was different. He had painstakingly pulled out the Buddha demon body tree and originally thought it would be a great harvest. He didn't expect Demon Daozi to snatch it away and end up giving it to someone else. In addition, Zhuowen's nascent soul was very attractive to him. Therefore, Qing Shu's desire to find Zhuowen was much stronger than Demon Daozi's. He really wasn't willing to return empty-handed. Thinking of this, Qing Shu didn't return to Yang City like Demon Daozi. Instead, he began to frantically search the dense forest like a madman, not letting go of any corner. 3 days later, Qing Shu quietly floated above the dense forest. His face was ashen. He had been desperately searching for 3 days, but he still hadn't found any clues. Forget it. With a sigh, Qing Shu took a step and disappeared above the dense forest. Clearly, He had also given up on searching for Zhuowen. What Qing Shu didn't know was that not long after he left the dense forest, Zhuowen slowly opened his eyes in an extremely remote cave in the dense forest. At this moment, an eye intertwined with golden and black light gently opened between his eyebrows. In an instant, Zhuowen's body was shrouded by the Buddha's shadow and the demon's shadow. It made Zhuowen look dignified but also evil. It was like a contradictory combination. In Zhuowen's knowledge sea, an ancient Buddha and a demon stood opposite each other. Demon Qi and Buddha Qi intertwined and filled Zhuowen's knowledge sea. Moreover, Zhuowen found that the ancient Buddha in his knowledge sea possessed a powerful Buddha Qi that was constantly combining with the great sun Nirvana Qi in his body. Under such a combination, the ancient Buddha and the great sun Nirvana Qi were constantly growing stronger. This ancient Buddha is actually operating the great sun Nirvana Qi in my body. Feeling the surging great sun Nirvana Qi in the meridians in his body, Zhuowen's eyes shone brightly. He was pleasantly surprised. The great sun Nirvana Qi is a Buddhist cultivation method. Since there is an ancient Buddha in your knowledge sea, it will bring unimaginable benefits to your cultivation of the great sun Nirvana Qi. Xiao He came to Zhuowen's shoulder and teased him. Hearing this, Zhuowen nodded. Suddenly, he had an idea and said, if the ancient Buddha in my knowledge sea brings unimaginable benefits to my cultivation of the Buddhist cultivation method, then wouldn't the demon in my knowledge sea be of great benefit to my cultivation of the demon sex cultivation method? Indeed. The ancient Buddha and demon in your knowledge sea both contain the origin of the Buddha and the demon sect. As long as you have the Buddha and the demon sex cultivation method in your body, you don't need to cultivate it yourself. The cultivation method in your body will automatically operate. Xiao He nodded and continued, moreover, since the demon in your knowledge sea contains the essence of the demon sect, it will bring unimaginable benefits to your control over the power of the blood demon. After all, you still have the blood inheritance seal in your hands. The blood demon will not be able to do anything to you. Zhuowen's eyes shone brightly. If what Xiao He said was true, then with the existence of the demon in his knowledge sea, wouldn't it mean that he could control the power of the demon sect from back then? Back then, when Zhuowen had been possessed by the demon sect, the power that he controlled was indeed extremely powerful. If Zhuowen could control that power back then, Zhuowen's strength would have increased by several times. Kid. With the Buddha demon eye, you can now switch between the Buddha and demon states. If you switch to the Buddha state, then your cultivation of the Buddha sex cultivation method will be extremely fast. If you switch to the demon state, then you can use the demon sect's Tao to cultivate the power of the demon sect. Furthermore, your current strength isn't too strong. You won't be able to unleash the true power of the Buddha demon eye. However, just the switching between the Buddha and demon states will bring unimaginable benefits to your strength, Xiao He said plainly. Zhuowen also knew how powerful the Buddha demon eye was. After all, it was the third eye of the fighting Buddha demon sage. The fighting Buddha demon sage was one of the existences that were closest to God in ancient times. Naturally, the Buddha demon eye was extremely powerful. However, the current Zhuowen was still too weak. Naturally, it was difficult for him to unleash the full power of the Buddha demon eye. Let's talk about it after I recover my strength. As for the Buddha demon eye, it won't be too late to study it after my strength has fully recovered. Slowly closing the Buddha demon eye, Zhuowen waved his right hand and took out the yuanying of the white-brow heavenly master. Zhuowen, what are you trying to do now? The white-brow heavenly master glared at Zhuowen as soon as he appeared. At the same time, there was a trace of fear on his face. What else can I do? Can't you see that I'm only a three-wheel ultimate emperor? Naturally, I'll use you to help me recover my strength. Zhuowen sneered. He grabbed the white-brow heavenly master with his right hand and began to silently absorb the power of the white-brow heavenly master's yuanying. The pitiful white-brow heavenly master could only allow himself to be carried by Zhuowen in humiliation. He allowed Zhuowen to absorb the power of his yuanying. Although he howled in protest, Zhuowen didn't even spare him a glance. Time flowed by, and a month's time quickly passed. Within the lush forest, countless birds flew past, and a gentle breeze blew past, causing the fallen leaves on the ground to flutter. Boom! An explosive sound suddenly rang out. In an inconspicuous corner of the dense forest, there was a cave. At this moment, the cave actually collapsed, bursting into countless pieces of rubble. A figure stepped out from the rubble. This person had a delicate face. He was about 20 years old. His black hair fluttered in the wind and there was a smile on his face. After a month, I've finally completely recovered my cultivation. Haha. Whitebrow Heavenly Master, thank you for taking care of me this month. This person was Zhuowen. At this moment, the ball of light in Zhuowen's right hand was so dim that it was almost transparent. The Whitebrow Heavenly Master within the ball of light was extremely weak. Over the past month, Zhuowen had basically taken everything from him. His Yuanying's power had almost been completely absorbed by Zhuowen. If it weren't for the fact that a Heavenly Master's Yuanying was extremely powerful, the Whitebrow Heavenly Master's soul would probably have dissipated by now. Zhuowen, you bastard, what do you take me for? Bastard. Whitebrow Heavenly Master roared through gritted teeth. Do you want to recover your physical body? Zhuowen suddenly said. The originally furious Whitebrow Heavenly Master was stunned when he heard Zhuowen's words. Immediately, he said somewhat incredulously, "You're willing to recover my physical body? If you acknowledge me as your master, after I reach Yang City, I'll immediately gather the materials and refine a physical body for you, returning you the freedom and dignity of an Empyrean realm powerhouse. How about it?" Zhuowen said with a faint smile. But Whitebrow Heavenly Master's expression was ugly as he said coldly, "You want me to acknowledge you as my master? Are you dreaming? You, a junior, actually also want me to acknowledge you as my master? Although I'm a junior, you were defeated at my hands back then. Could it be that this isn't enough? Furthermore, if you keep living in the state of Yuanying, as time passes, you'll only become weaker and weaker. Furthermore, you won't be able to cultivate to replenish your energy. You'll die without a doubt. Could it be that you feel that you have another choice?" Zhuowen said with a sneer. Whitebrow Heavenly Master's face darkened, his eyes flickering endlessly. It was unknown what he was thinking about. "I'll only give you 3 breaths of time. If I count to 3 and you don't make a decision, I'll personally take action and make your soul dissipate, thoroughly vanishing from this world." Zhuowen's words at this moment were filled with cold killing intent. His words were absolutely not joking. Whitebrow Heavenly Master's face turned stiff, his gaze gloomy. 1, 2, 3, talking up to here, the killing intent in Zhuowen's gaze was seemingly corporeal, piercing until Whitebrow Heavenly Master's entire body trembled. Chapter 906. The 5 Celestial Venerables servants. The corners of Zhuowen's lips curled up when he saw Celestial Venerate Whitebrow yield. He faintly smiled and said, "Since you've accepted me as your master, extract a strand of your soul origin and give it to me for safekeeping." Celestial Venerate Whitebrow's face changed slightly. Soul origin was his most important thing. If Zhuowen obtained it, his life would be completely under Zhuowen's control. However, Celestial Venerate Whitebrow had no choice but to yield. He did not want his soul to disperse just like that. After all, it was not easy for him to reach the Celestial Venerate level. If he encountered a fortuitous encounter in the future, he might even be able to reach the Emperor realm. How could he be willing to let his soul disperse just like that? "Hurry up," Zhuowen urged coldly. Celestial Venerate Whitebrow gently sighed. He tapped his forehead with his right hand and a golden line was extracted from the depths of his forehead. It quietly hovered above his palm. This was a strand of his soul origin. At that moment, Celestial Venerate Whitebrow's face paled and his body trembled. His nascent soul also became fainter. Clearly, extracting the soul origin had affected him quite a bit. Swish. Zhuowen accepted Celestial Venerate Whitebrow's soul origin and pressed it into his sea of consciousness. Afterward, he flipped his right hand and pressed it against Celestial Venerate Whitebrow's ball of light. Strands of surging origin energy surged into the ball of light. Immediately, Celestial Venerate Whitebrow's fainter body gradually solidified. Celestial Venerate Whitebrow looked at Zhuowen in surprise when he felt the surging origin energy enter his body. Clearly, he had not expected Zhuowen to do something like this. There's no need to look at me like that. Since you've already given me your soul origin, you're mine now. I basically won't mistreat my own people, Zhuowen said indifferently. Celestial Venerate Whitebrow nodded. He did not say anything else, but there was a sliver of surprise in his eyes. Zhuowen waved his right hand and 4 balls of light appeared in front of him. They were the nascent souls of Guanghan Heavenly Lord, Huang Jiao Heavenly Lord, Shi Yu, and Xiang Tianzuan. At this moment, the nascent souls of the 4 celestial sovereigns opened their eyes and glared at Zhuowen. Xiang Tianzuan said coldly to Zhuowen, "How long are you going to seal our nascent souls? I will give the 4 of you a choice. First, hand over your soul essence and acknowledge me as your master. Not only will I unlock the seal on your nascent souls, I will also help you reconstruct your fleshly bodies. Second, your souls will be destroyed immediately," Zhuowen said coldly. What? When the 4 Empyreans heard this, they were all shocked. Zhuowen actually wanted them to acknowledge him as their master. They were dignified Empyrean powerhouses, but they actually had to acknowledge a junior as their master. How was this possible? Are you dreaming? This old man would rather have his soul destroyed than recognize a junior like you, who stinks of milk, as my master. Empyrean Ziyang snorted coldly. He was actually not afraid of Zhuowen's threat. With Xiang Tianzuan as an example, the other 3 Empyreans did not give in. They all glared at Zhuowen angrily. Do the 4 of you think that I, Zhuowen, won't dare to do anything to you? Zhuowen stared at Xiang Tianzuan and said coldly, "Since you are so stubborn, I will fulfill your wish and destroy your soul." After saying that, Zhuowen blasted out his right palm and enveloped Xiang Tianzuan. Terrifying origin energy poured out like the might of the heavens. Xiang Tianzuan's expression changed drastically. He wanted to dodge Zhuowen's palm. Unfortunately, his nascent soul was imprisoned in the ball of light and could not resist at all. Boom! With a palm smashing down, Empyrean Ziyang was directly slapped into the ground, smashing out a crater that was several feet wide. At the same time, Zhuowen's attack was not slow. Terrifying attacks mercilessly swept towards Xiang Tianzuan below. For a moment, terrifying origin energy fluctuations constantly circulated in the space. Meanwhile, Heavenly Venerate Ziyang's heart-wrenching cries were like midnight snacks that echoed endlessly, causing Guanghan, Xie and Huang Liang's scalps to go numb. Zhuowen was serious. He was not just joking. If they did not obey him, their souls would be scattered. Thinking of this, the 3 celestial sovereigns could not help but panic. Soon, the screams below gradually weakened. Zhuowen's right hand sucked, and Xiang Tianzuan's nascent soul was held in Zhuowen's hand. At this moment, Xiang Tianzuan's nascent soul had become extremely faint. Zhuowen did not show any mercy just now. Xiang Tianzuan was now like a dead dog, gasping for breath. "Go to hell!" Zhuowen's cold voice rang out. His eyes were full of cold killing intent. A terrifying origin energy was spat out, trying to completely annihilate Xiang Tianzuan's nascent soul. "No. I'm willing to surrender. I'm willing to hand over my soul origin and recognize you as my master." Empyrean Ziyang screamed in horror. His voice was sharp and shrill. He finally realized how ruthless Zhuowen was. If he really didn't obey, Zhuowen might really annihilate him. He was a supreme expert at the peak of the Empyrean realm, only half a step away from stepping into the Imperial power realm. After cultivating for a lifetime, he had already reached this level. How could Xiang Tianzuan be willing to die like this? Previously, the reason why he was so unyielding was not only because of his own pride, but also because he thought that Zhuowen would not really attack him. However, Zhuowen's behavior was far beyond his expectations. He actually wanted to completely annihilate him, so Xiang Tianzuan was afraid and surrendered. The corners of Zhuowen's mouth curled up. He stopped attacking and said indifferently, "If you surrender to me, you don't have to feel that it's not worth it. I, Zhuowen, promise you that if I reach the Imperial realm one day, I will return your soul origin and set you free." As soon as these words came out, Xiang Tianzuan, who was still a little unwilling, completely surrendered. Zhuowen had already made a promise, which could be considered as benevolent. If he did not know what was good for him, then only death would await him. Greetings, Master. Xiang Tianzuan knelt on one knee and touched his forehead with his right hand. Without hesitation, he pulled out a wisp of his soul origin and handed it to Zhuowen. Since Xiang Tianzuan had already done so, the Guanghan Heavenly Sovereign and the other two did not insist. They also took out their soul origin and handed it to Zhuowen. After pressing the 4 soul origins into their foreheads, Zhuowen said to Xiang Tianzuan and the others, "Reconstructing your physical bodies requires a huge amount of resources. After I go to Yang City, I will think of a way for you. During this period of time, keep them in your spirit rings for a while." Yes. Xiang Tianzuan and the others did not refuse. They cupped their hands and were all kept in Zhuowen's spirit rings. "It's time to go to Yang City," Zhuowen muttered to himself. With a stomp of his foot, he turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the sky above the dense forest. At the end of a vast and boundless plain, a huge city stood on the plain like a savage giant beast, as if it had existed since ancient times. Strangely, there was a monstrous sea of fire in the sky above this huge city. This sea of fire spread and covered the entire city. This city that was shrouded in the sea of fire was the most prosperous city in the Yang Empire, Yang City. Swoosh! A stream of light instantly arrived near Yang City. When he saw the endless sea of fire in the sky above the city, his eyes were filled with shock. This person was indeed Zhuowen, who had traveled non-stop for 3 days. As expected, the core cities of the empire are all extraordinary. As he stared at the Yang City before him, Zhuowen could not help but recall the royal city of the Qing Empire. In the sky above the royal city, there was an illusory shadow of a huge dragon, while this Yang City was a sea of fire. Evidently, the cities that were overseen by emperor-level experts would all have their own strange phenomena in the sky above them. The Qing Emperor was like this, and so was the Yang Emperor of the Yang Empire. "I wonder which part of Yang City is Miss Lingyu's Ruan clan?" Zhuowen softly muttered to himself. His feet did not slow down as he directly stepped into Yang City. Back when he was with the Ruan clan, Zhuowen had promised Ruan Lingyu that once his cultivation recovered, he would help her expel the cold qi in her body. However, Zhuowen had already changed his appearance before entering Yang City. After all, his true appearance had been seen by Mo Ying and Zui Qingfeng. Given the importance the two of them placed on rare treasures, they would definitely report Zhuowen to the sect behind him. If Zhuowen swaggered into Yang City with his original appearance, he would undoubtedly be courting death. At this moment, Zhuowen's appearance had already turned into that of a waxen youth. He looked sickly, as if a gust of wind could blow him away. Furthermore, he had already retracted his venerable stage aura, only revealing the cultivation of an ultimate two-wheel emperor. After all, possessing the aura of a venerable stage cultivator at such a young age would undoubtedly attract the attention of many. That would greatly increase the chances of his identity being exposed. Most of the people walking on the streets of Yang City were cultivators. Furthermore, there was no lack of powerful ultimate emperor stage cultivators. One could even see a few ultimate venerable stage cultivators. However, there were very few of them, and most of them were ultimate emperor stage cultivators. Many cultivators had set up stalls on both sides of the street, selling all sorts of things. There were soul treasures, secret techniques, armor techniques, elixirs and so on. As long as it was related to the martial Dao, the surrounding stalls would sell everything. As he looked at the stalls on both sides of the street, Zhuowen asked Xiao Hei in his heart, "Xiao Hei, what materials do you need to reconstruct a body?" Xiao Hei sneered, "Kid, do you think that reconstructing a body is easy? You've already destroyed the bodies of those 5 heavenly sovereigns. It won't be that easy to reconstruct a body suitable for them." Zhuowen raised his eyebrows slightly as a bitter smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. It seemed that he had underestimated the difficulty of reconstructing a body. It's a good thing that you've only reconstructed the body of a heavenly sovereign. If it was the body of an emperor realm cultivator, your current wealth would be enough to bankrupt you. Xiao Hei ridiculed. Is the price that high? Zhuowen was somewhat speechless. Of course it's high. With the amount of spirit stones you currently have, I feel that it would be a little difficult to reconstruct the body of Heavenly Sovereign by my, let alone Xiang Tianzuan. Xiao He said indifferently. Chapter 907. Setting up a stall. Kid. Don't you have quite a few useless soul treasures on you? If you exchange these soul treasures for spirit stones, you will gain quite a bit of wealth. At that time, you will be able to purchase the materials needed to reconstruct your body. Xiao He suddenly said to Zhuowen. Upon hearing this, Zhuowen's eyes brightened. Xiao He was right. Now that his cultivation had reached the utmost being stage, earthly soul treasures were no longer of much use to him and could be exchanged for spirit stones. The street vendors on both sides of Yang City are so busy. I can find a stall here to sell soul treasures from spirit rings. As he spoke, Zhuowen turned his attention to the situation on both sides of the street. However, he was astonished to find that both sides of the street were completely occupied by vendors. There was basically no empty space at all. This caused Zhuowen to feel rather depressed. After walking for a while, Zhuowen suddenly discovered a middle-aged man on the left in front of him. Perhaps he had some matters to attend to, so he hurriedly packed up his stall and hurriedly left. After the middle-aged man left, Zhuowen took a step forward and arrived at the stall in an instant. With a flick of his finger, he retrieved a brocade cloth from his spirit ring and spread it on the ground. At the stall next to Zhuowen's was a burly man. This burly man's aura was vigorous and he was an ultimate four-wheel emperor. When he saw that Zhuowen was young, his complexion was waxen and his aura was weak, a trace of disdain involuntarily appeared on his face. Zhuowen did not pay attention to the burly man's expression. With another flick of his finger, he retrieved two glowing earthly soul treasures. One of them was a pitch-black long sword, while the other was a brocade cloth. They were likely defensive soul treasures. Of course, given Zhuowen's inventory, it was impossible for him to only have two earthly soul treasures on him. However, taking out too many at once would inevitably arouse the greed of others. Oh, two earthly soul treasures? The burly man next door originally had a look of disdain on his face. However, when he saw Zhuowen casually take out two earthly soul treasures, he could not help but reveal a trace of emotion. Moreover, looking at the surface of the soul treasures on Zhuowen's stall, the quality was obviously not low. The glow emitted by the surface of the earthly soul treasure quickly attracted the attention of the passers-by. They were all attracted by Zhuowen's earthly soul treasure. Earth-rank spirit treasures were extremely rare to low-level Ultimate Emperor realm cultivators. Once they possessed an Earth-rank spirit treasure, their combat strength would increase by quite a bit. However, when the cultivators in the surroundings saw that the owner of the stall was a young man with a sallow complexion, they couldn't help but be surprised. In particular, the young man's aura wasn't very strong. He was only around the level of a second-wheel Ultimate Emperor. Generally speaking, Earth-rank spirit treasures would be of great help to second-wheel Ultimate Emperor realm cultivators, but this young man was selling them. Moreover, he was selling two at once, so everyone couldn't help but guess that he had more than two Earth-rank spirit treasures. After all, someone who could casually take out two earthly soul treasures like this would definitely have better soul treasures on him that he could use. When they thought of this, the eyes of some of the cultivators in the surroundings flickered. No one knew what they were thinking. A middle-aged man with a goatee walked out and asked Zhuowen with a smile, "Little brother, how much are you selling this longsword soul treasure for?" "Fixed price. 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones." Zhuowen said indifferently. This pitch-black longsword was a high-grade Earth-rank spirit treasure. It was very powerful. If an Ultimate Emperor realm cultivator possessed it, it would be of great help to them. Therefore, 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones was not considered expensive. The middle-aged man with the goatee frowned slightly. It was obvious that Zhuowen's price was too high, causing him to hesitate. "Little brother, sell it to me for 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones. How about we become friends?" The man with the goatee suddenly smiled. Zhuowen shook his head, but he was laughing coldly in his heart. This longsword soul treasure could cut through iron like it was mud. Its power was vast and mighty. Even 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones was not considered expensive. However, this man actually wanted to buy it for 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones. How could there be such a good deal? What? Are you looking down on me? The man with the goatee's expression was cold as he stared fixedly at Zhuowen. There was a trace of cold killing intent in his eyes. He did not even try to conceal his killing intent at all. Zhuowen's gaze gradually turned cold when he sensed the killing intent from the man with the goatee. This man with the goatee actually wanted to kill him just because he, Zhuowen, refused to sell his soul treasure. The surrounding men all revealed looks of ridicule. They all knew that this young man who had set up the stall was only a second-wheel ultimate Emperor realm cultivator. There were certain unspoken rules when setting up a stall in Yang City. If the stall owner was weak and the items he took out were extremely precious, then it was very easy for stronger customers to bully him or even rob him. Little brother, I've already given you a lot of face and was willing to buy your soul treasure longsword for 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones. However, you don't appreciate it. How about this? I'll give you another chance. Sell it to me for 300 mid-grade spirit stones and I won't pursue your rudeness, the man with the goatee said coldly. Scram. Zhuowen did not want to waste any more words with the man with the goatee and directly told him to scram. The man with the goatee was getting more and more arrogant. Now, he actually wanted to sell it to him for 300 mid-grade spirit stones. This was no different from selling scrap metal. You're telling me to scram? Good, good. A mere second-wheel Ultimate Emperor Realm Junior dares to speak to me like this. I think you're tired of living. The man with the goatee was so angry that he laughed. He stomped his foot and the aura of a third-wheel Ultimate Emperor Realm cultivator burst out. He then formed a palm with his right hand and blasted it at Zhuowen. The surrounding practitioners were not the least bit surprised when they saw this scene. Such fights were all too common in Yang City. In particular, cases of the strong bullying the weak occurred every day. Instead, the surrounding practitioners felt that Zhuowen was too unappreciative. If he had swallowed his pride and sold the longsword soul treasure to the man with the goatee, things would have been much better. Instead, he would likely have to suffer a little now. Looks like you didn't hear a single word of my words. In that case, I can only beat you until you scram. Zhuowen coldly chuckled. With a flick of his sleeve, Yuan power gushed out from his right palm. His robes fluttered and directly slammed into the man with the goatee's palm. Crack. The clear sound of bones cracking rang out. The man with the goatee's expression stiffened as he saw his right hand being twisted at an irregular angle. An intense pain spread from his right hand, causing the man to involuntarily scream out in pain. Scram. Just as he finished speaking, the man with the goatee was sent flying backwards in an extremely sorry fashion. He crashed heavily a dozen meters away, clutching his completely twisted right arm as he rolled back and forth while screaming in pain. Hiss. When they saw the man with the goatee's completely twisted right arm, everyone knew that his right arm was probably completely crippled. However, they were even more shocked by the strength of the sallow youth. He was clearly only at the second wheel of the Ultimate Emperor Realm, but he'd actually crippled a third-wheel Ultimate Emperor Realm practitioner with a single move. Zhuowen's performance immediately caused fear to appear in the eyes of quite a few practitioners in the surroundings. After sending the man with the goatee flying, Zhuowen continued to sit like a boulder in front of his stall. The man with the goatee had thrown himself into the spear, so he had no one to blame but himself for suffering a great loss. At the same time, Zhuowen also knew that with the man with the goatee as a precedent, the other practitioners would more or less have some misgivings if they wanted to forcefully take something from him. This had saved Zhuowen quite a bit of trouble. Little brother, the stall you're at originally belonged to me. Don't you think it's a little too much for you to casually take over my stall like this? Suddenly, the eyes of the burly man next to Zhuowen flickered as he stared at the two earthly soul treasures on Zhuowen's stall. A bright light flashed in his eyes as his indifferent voice slowly sounded out. Oh, so this is your stall? Turning his head, Zhuowen stared at the brawny man next to him with a cold look in his eyes. He had seen with his own eyes that another cultivator had left due to an urgent matter, so he, Zhuowen, had taken over this stall. Moreover, the stalls on both sides of Yang City were originally free to be used by practitioners. Whoever arrived first would be the first to use it. There was no such thing as this burly man had said. Of course, little brother, if you wish to continue setting up your stall here, you'll have to pay a certain amount of rent, right? The burly man indifferently said. Rent? Then tell me, how much rent do you want me to pay? Zhuowen followed the burly man's words with a smile. The corners of the burly man's mouth raised slightly. Don't you have 2 soul treasures on your stall? You only need to take out one as rent and you'll be able to continue setting up your stall here. Zhuowen smiled. He also knew that this burly man's objective was the same as the goateed man's. Both of them had their eyes on the soul treasures on his stall. However, this burly man was even more sinister than the goateed man. He actually wanted to gain something for nothing. However, this burly man did indeed have the qualifications to do so. This was because his cultivation was much stronger than the goateed man's. He had already reached the peak of the ultimate 4 wheels emperor stage and was many times stronger than the goateed man. Then according to what you've said, all the streets in Yang City belong to you? Does that mean that you're on equal footing with the Flame Emperor? Zhuowen teased. The burly man's expression darkened slightly as he coldly replied, Little brother, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Don't think that you're all that just because you defeated an ultimate 3 wheels emperor trash. Let me tell you, there are countless people in Yang City who are stronger than you. You're nothing compared to them. Hee hee. Even if I'm nothing, I'm still stronger than you. What qualifications do you have? What face do you have to actually use an earthly soul treasure as rent? Do you think that I'm a 3-year-old kid, or is there something wrong with your brain? Zhuowen mercilessly retorted. The burly man's expression stiffened. Soon after, a bone-chilling coldness appeared in his eyes as he stared at Zhuowen and said, Do you dare to say that again? What else can you do other than bark like a dog in front of me? Zhuowen icily replied. Die. The burly man roared and actually directly attacked Zhuowen. A fist flew out and a thunderous explosion erupted as wild winds howled around them. Looks like my methods aren't vicious enough. Since you're so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Chapter 908. Stella soared as he spoke. Zhuowen stomped his foot. Facing the burly man's punch, he was not afraid at all. His right hand grabbed the burly man's fist, and his origin energy surged out as he exerted force. Crack! The burly man's right hand was actually broken by Zhuowen. Then, Zhuowen took a step forward without hesitation. His left hand formed a fist, and under the influence of his origin energy, a terrifying gust of wind was stirred up as his fist landed heavily on the burly man's abdomen. Boom! The burly man's entire body arched up like a cooked shrimp. His entire body trembled, and his eyes bulged as he spat out blood. He was like a faucet that could not be stopped. At this moment, the surroundings suddenly became extremely quiet. The goateed man with 3 wheels had been defeated by Zhuowen in a single move. Perhaps the crowd could somewhat understand why he had been defeated. However, this burly man was obviously at the peak of the 4-wheel ultimate emperor realm, yet he had ended up in an even worse state than the goateed man. Everyone knew that this extremely unremarkable young man with a sallow complexion had most likely concealed his cultivation. He was at least at the peak of the 5-wheel ultimate emperor realm. I was wrong. Let me go. I won't dare to do it again. The burly man's body was arched, and his voice was extremely weak. There was even a trace of fear in his voice. The burly man had never imagined that the young man in front of him would be so terrifying. He had been reduced to such a state with just one strike. He knew that this sickly young man could kill him as easily as moving his hand. Thus, the burly man was terrified. He was even more annoyed at himself for provoking this fiend. Is it enough to say that I was wrong? I just heard that you wanted me to die. Now that you realize that you're no match for me, you're begging for mercy? If my strength was weaker than yours, I'm afraid I would have already fallen in your hand. Zhuowen's voice was cold and emotionless. Then, he clenched his left fist, and a trace of golden light flowed around it. Then, He punched the burly man's abdomen again. The burly man did not even make a sound before he exploded into a cloud of blood. Hiss! Gasps could be heard one after another. Looking at the burly man who had exploded into a bloody mist, everyone was stunned. Then, their gazes shifted slightly and landed on Zhuowen. Their eyes were filled with fear. It was too ruthless. The young man before them had an ordinary appearance, and his cultivation didn't seem to be much either. However, the strength that he could unleash was actually so powerful. What made the crowd even more fearful was the ruthless methods of the young man before them. With just a single word of disagreement, he had used a lightning-fast method to completely kill him. Moreover, not even his corpse was left behind. When I do business, I pay particular attention to fairness and justice. If you are interested in buying, I will naturally welcome you. Even if you are not satisfied with my spiritual treasure, I will not pester you too much. However, if some people think that I am easy to bully and want to take it by force, I will kill them even if I am not talented. Even though Zhuowen's voice was not loud, every word was like a gem, exploding in the crowd's ears like thunder. This caused some of the restless practitioners in the surroundings to slowly shrink back. After all, there was the precedent of the goateed man and the burly man. As he gazed at the silent practitioners in the surroundings, the corners of Zhuowen's mouth curled up slightly. He did not say anything else as he once again sat down cross-legged at his stall, waiting for the true buyers. With Zhuowen's previous intimidation method, the surrounding practitioners shook their heads and left. Even though they were extremely coveting the earthly soul treasures on Zhuowen's stall, they did not have 5,000 middle-grade spirit stones on them. It was likely that only the disciples of the large clans would be able to take out so many spirit stones. Time gradually passed. The sun, which was originally high in the sky, gradually sank and landed on the ground. The blood-red rays of the setting sun shone upon Yang City, making it appear rather mournful. However, Zhuowen's eyebrows were slightly furrowed. He had already sat here for a day. Even though there were quite a number of practitioners who were attracted by the 2 soul treasures on his stall, after hearing Zhuowen's fixed price, they all shook their heads and left. Looks like setting up a stall is not so easy. Soul treasures are after all too precious. As he muttered to himself, Zhuowen prepared to tidy up his stall. He knew that the majority of the practitioners who shopped at the street stalls were individual practitioners. Without the support of a strong faction, they were basically poor and it was very difficult for them to take out 5,000 middle-grade spirit stones in one go. Brother, please wait a moment. Are you selling these 2 spiritual treasures in your stall? At this moment, a somewhat scholarly voice sounded out. Soon after, a handsome man dressed in brocade robes led a 16-year-old young lady to Zhuowen's stall. The young lady beside the man stared intently at the longsword soul treasure on Zhuowen's stall. Her eyes were filled with desire. The young lady's expression was too obvious. She clearly wanted the longsword soul treasure on Zhuowen's stall. Zhuowen nodded his head and politely said, "Could it be that this young master wants to buy it?" The scholarly man smiled and nodded his head. Soon after, he turned to the young lady beside him and said, "Su Jin, this longsword soul treasure is an earth upper-tier soul treasure. If you like it, how about I buy it for you?" The young lady named Su Jin's beautiful eyes were filled with joy. She hugged the man's arm and excitedly said, "Really? Big brother Zhongxing, you are so nice." The scholarly man affectionately scratched Su Jin's nose and gently laughed. "Weren't you the one who kept talking about the longsword soul treasure some time ago? If I didn't buy it for you earlier, wouldn't my ears have grown calluses from all the noise?" "How could that be?" Su Jin curled her lips and whispered. The scholarly man shook his head helplessly. Soon after, he stared at Zhuowen and said, "Brother, how much are you selling this longsword soul treasure for?" 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Zhuowen calmly said. "En. The price of your longsword soul treasure is quite reasonable. There are 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones in this Chenkuan bag. Brother, you should count carefully." The scholarly man nodded his head. He took out a Chenkuan bag and threw it to Zhuowen. After Zhuowen caught the Chenkuan bag, he casually checked the number of spirit stones in the Chenkuan bag. After confirming that the number was correct, He nodded his head and said, "There are indeed 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones." As he spoke, Zhuowen waved his right hand and threw the longsword soul treasure to the scholarly man. After the latter received the longsword soul treasure, he activated the Yuan Qi in his right hand. Suddenly, the originally black long sword actually emitted a dazzling starlight. The originally unremarkable body of the sword actually became as smooth as water, sparkling and translucent. It looked dreamy and beautiful. This sword is called the Starlight Sword. It has been imbued with the power of the stars. It is as hard as black iron and as sharp as a thin wing. The starlight surrounding the sword has the effect of protecting its owner. It is an extremely good spirit treasure for an ordinary Ultimate Emperor Realm practitioner. Zhuowen explained from the side. "Good sword. Brother, if this spirit treasure of yours were to be auctioned, I'm afraid it would be worth more than 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones. This time, I, Wu Zongxing, have taken advantage of you." The scholarly man laughed heartily. The young girl standing beside the scholarly man, Su Jin, stared at the starlight sword in Wu Zongxing's hand with her beautiful eyes. She didn't expect that the pitch-black longsword soul treasure would actually be so beautiful. As a woman, she was naturally very satisfied with this sword. Wu Zongxing. This person is actually Wu Zongxing. Such a person actually came to a street stall to buy things. I'm afraid he came out to accompany the young girl beside him. That young girl should be Wu Zongxing's beloved younger sister, Wu Sujin. I really didn't expect that this pair of genius siblings would appear here. After the scholarly man announced his name, the surrounding people burst into a frenzy of discussion. Zhuowen also came to know from the surrounding discussions that this man and woman in front of him were actually the direct descendants of the Wu clan. The Wu clan was one of the 4 great clans of Yang City. It was a powerful clan that was on par with the Shaoyang clan. This Wu Zongxing was also a rare genius. He was also a genius on the Flame God list. His fame was as great as the Shaoyang clan's Shaoyang Qinglin. After purchasing the Starlight Sword, Wu Zongxing didn't stay here for long. Instead, he left with Wu Sujin. However, the surrounding practitioners were still discussing spiritedly. Seeing that the sky was about to darken, Zhuowen also packed up his stall. Being able to sell the Star's Sword today was a good harvest for him. Now, with the original spirit stones he had on him and the spirit stones he had obtained from selling the Star's Sword, he had a total of more than 10,000 medium-grade spirit stones. Now, what Zhuowen needed to do was to buy some materials needed to reconstruct his physical body from other stalls in Yang City. This time, Zhuowen planned to first reconstruct the physical body of the White-Brow Heavenly Sovereign. After all, the White-Brow Heavenly Sovereign was the weakest among the 5 Heavenly Sovereigns. The cost of reconstructing his physical body was also the lowest. After strolling around Yang City for more than 2 hours, Zhuowen bought all kinds of materials under the guidance of Xiao He. Among them, there were some extremely valuable materials, causing Zhuowen to feel a heartache. After 2 hours, all the materials that Xiao He needed were basically bought by Zhuowen. Then, Zhuowen found a quiet inn and checked in. In a dark room, Zhuowen quietly sat cross-legged in the room. Xiao He stood on his shoulder. In front of Zhuowen was a small mountain of materials. "Xiao He, can we begin now?" Zhuowen asked Xiao He. Xiao He nodded and said, "We can begin. Release the White-Brow Heavenly Sovereign's nascent soul. The process of reconstructing a physical body will take some time. During this time, do not disturb this Dragon Lord, or all my previous efforts will be wasted." Zhuowen nodded. With a wave of his right hand, the White-Brow Heavenly Sovereign's nascent soul was retrieved from his spirit ring and handed to Xiao He. Meanwhile, Zhuowen himself quietly retreated to a corner of the room and silently watched Xiao He. At this moment, the White-Brow Heavenly Sovereign's eyes were slightly dazed. However, when he saw Xiao He, he looked as if he had seen a ghost. The dragon soul before him was very powerful. He had experienced it far too many times, causing the White-Brow Heavenly Sovereign to subconsciously show fear whenever he saw Xiao He. "White-Brow old dog, what are you afraid of? This Dragon Lord is about to help you reconstruct your physical body. If you are unwilling, this Dragon Lord will not do anything. Xiao Hei icily said. Chapter 909. Ruan Clan. The corner of Zhuowen's mouth twitched when he saw Empyrean Master Whitebrow's reaction. It seemed like Empyrean Master Whitebrow had been ravaged by Xiao Hei back in the spirit ring, causing him to behave like this when he saw Xiao Hei. Of course. Listen to your Lord Dragon obediently in the future. Lord Dragon will guarantee that you will have meat to eat. Xiao Hei crossed his arms and raised his chin slightly as he chuckled. Yes, yes. Lord Dragon is right. I don't need meat. I just need soup. Empyrean Master Whitebrow smiled flatteringly. Yes, yes. Then scram to the side first. Lord Dragon needs to prepare to reconstruct your body now. Watch carefully. Xiao Hei kicked Empyrean Master Whitebrow, causing him to roll far away. Then, he stared solemnly at the mountain-like materials in front of him. It's starting now. Xiao Hei muttered softly as he waved his little claws. Immediately, an ink-black energy swept out and enveloped the mountain-like materials in front of him. The ink-black energy became denser and denser. Then, it gradually enveloped the mountain-like materials in front of Xiao Hei, turning into a huge black egg that was several feet in size. Zhuowen and Empyrean Master Whitebrow, who had rolled to the corner, stared at Xiao Hei's technique without blinking. Clearly, they had never seen or heard of the method Xiao Hei used to reconstruct his body. Kid. Lord Dragon needs 7 days. Once 7 days are over, this huge egg will nurture an unconscious body. At that time, the reconstruction of the body will be complete. Xiao Hei instructed Zhuowen behind him and began to focus on incubating the huge black egg in front of him. 7 days passed very quickly. During these 7 days, Zhuowen and Empyrean Master Whitebrow both stared nervously at the huge black egg in the middle of the room. They both knew that this huge black egg was the key to the reconstruction of Empyrean Master Whitebrow's body. If it failed, Empyrean Master Whitebrow's dream of reconstructing his body would come to nothing. Catcher. Suddenly, a crisp sound rang out. The huge black egg in the middle of the room trembled violently. Then, cracks appeared on its surface, and the black eggshell peeled off. Zhuowen and the Whitebrow Empyrean Exalted Celestial also noticed the abnormality of the huge black egg. They stared at its surface without blinking. The Whitebrow Empyrean Exalted Celestial was the most nervous. After all, this was crucial to whether or not his body could be reconstructed. When the black egg finally cracked open, a young man with long white eyebrows appeared in front of Zhuowen. At this moment, the young man's eyes were closed, and his face was filled with serenity. Whitebrow, get your ass over here. This body has just been refined by this Dragon Lord. Go in and give it a try. See if it's suitable. Xiao Hei shouted at Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow, who was in a daze in the corner. As for Zhuowen, his face was filled with black lines. Why did Xiao Hei's words sound like she was asking Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow to change his clothes? Yes, yes, yes. I'm coming over now. Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow's eyes were filled with joy as he flew over. Then, under Xiao Hei's guidance, he entered the body's dantian. After a while, the young man slowly opened his eyes. Then, he rubbed his hands, rubbed his chest, and stretched his thighs. His face was filled with excitement. Zhuowen was speechless as he looked at Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow's series of actions. He could not bear to look directly at him. You're a big man. Is it really okay for you to do such ecstasy? Zhuowen flicked his finger and took out a white robe. He threw it to Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow and said, "Put on this robe. I still have something to do. Come with me." Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow put on the robe and said respectfully to Zhuowen, "Thank you, Master and Dragon Lord. Let's go." With that, Zhuowen pushed open the door. With a step, he flew in a certain direction. Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow followed closely behind Zhuowen. At this moment, Heavenly Venerable Whitebrow did not reject Zhuowen at all. This was because he realized that the physical body that Xiao Hei had refined for him was much better than his original body. The best thing was that this physical body was many times younger than his original body. With this physical body, Heavenly Venerable White Brow's martial path would definitely be longer than before. Furthermore, he also knew that the dragon soul Xiao Hei hidden in Zhuowen's body was probably an extremely terrifying existence when she was alive. On the other hand, Zhuowen was a freak with abnormal talent. Heavenly Venerable White Brow could see a limitless future in this human and dragon duo. The main reason why Heavenly Venerable White Brow followed Emperor Qing and worked for him wholeheartedly was that Emperor Qing could guide him further on the martial path. Now, Xiao Hei and Zhuowen could give him the same thing. In fact, what Xiao Hei gave him was even better than what Emperor Qing had given him. In addition, Zhuowen had promised them that if Heavenly Venerable White Brow's cultivation level advanced to the Emperor realm, they would be able to regain their freedom. Why would Heavenly Venerable White Brow reject such benefits? After all, there was no harm in it for him. Swoosh. Not long after, Zhuowen and Heavenly Venerable White Brow arrived in front of a rather luxurious mansion in Yang City. The two words Wan Residence were written on a signboard above the mansion. Back when they were in Wan Lingyu's carriage, Zhuowen had already promised Wan Lingyu that once his cultivation level recovered, he would help her get rid of the strange cold qi in her body. Now that his cultivation level had recovered, it was time to fulfill his promise. Standing quietly at the entrance of Wan Residence, Zhuowen did not directly enter. Instead, he took out a jade talisman with his right hand. With a push of his yuan power, the jade talisman turned into a ray of light and instantly flew into Wan Residence. As the ray of light was extremely fast, the guards at the entrance did not notice it. However, these guards were extremely cautious as they stared at Zhuowen. An unfamiliar young man suddenly standing at the entrance of Wan Residence would naturally arouse suspicion. However, since Zhuowen did not do anything, these guards did not make a move. They only stared at Zhuowen from time to time. The jade talisman that Zhuowen had used was a communication method. Back then, when Zhuowen used the Saint Ice talisman to investigate the cold qi in Wan Lingyu's body, he had left a mark on her body. This was so that when Zhuowen's cultivation level recovered, Zhuowen would be able to easily find Wan Lingyu's location. Indeed, not long after the jade talisman disappeared into the Wan Residence, Wan Lingyu walked out of the mansion with the help of Leng Ying. Then, her gaze focused on Zhuowen, a trace of suspicion in her eyes. Just now, she was washing up in her room when a jade talisman suddenly flew in from the window and appeared in front of her, giving her a fright. Moreover, a line of words appeared on the jade talisman that had suddenly appeared. Miss Wan, I have fulfilled my promise and am here to help you expel the cold qi in your body. It was because of these words that Wan Lingyu immediately thought of Zhuowen. Hence, after washing up, Wan Lingyu came out with Leng Ying. Due to the phoenix feather that Xiaoyang Pu had given her, Wan Lingyu's complexion was now much rosier than before. However, Leng Ying's expression was still cold, as if someone owed her something. When Wan Lingyu and Leng Ying saw Zhuowen and the white-brow heavenly master standing at the entrance, their gazes converged on Zhuowen. Wan Lingyu's beautiful eyes were complicated, while Leng Ying's expression was cold. There was even a trace of an unknown emotion on her face. Looking at the expressions on their faces, Zhuowen narrowed his eyes. He could feel a trace of alienation between the two women. Needless to say, Zhuowen did not see eye to eye with Leng Ying from the beginning. However, Wan Lingyu's relationship with Zhuowen was quite harmonious. However, Wan Lingyu's current attitude towards Zhuowen puzzled Zhuowen. Miss Lingyu, long time no see. Back then in the carriage, I promised that once my cultivation recovered, I would help you expel the cold qi in your body. Zhuowen did not think too much about it and smiled at Wan Lingyu. Zhuowen, you're just talking nonsense, aren't you? Even some patriarchs can't do anything about the cold qi in Lingyu's body. Do you think a piece of trash like you can solve it? If you want to climb up to our Wan clan because of this, I advise you to give up. With your status and cultivation, how can you be worthy of our Lingyu? Leng Ying stood in front of Wan Lingyu and looked down at Zhuowen with her cold eyes. Her beautiful eyes stared at the spirit ring on Zhuowen's finger and continued, the one who kidnapped me last time was indeed your accomplice. Now, you should take the initiative and hand over the spirit ring. Zhuowen stared coldly at Leng Ying and said calmly, the one who kidnapped you was not me, but the people from the Xiaoyang family. If I really had someone, would I need you to save me back then? Are you still trying to deny it? If you want to get rid of suspicion, then hand over the spirit ring on your finger first. Leng Ying spread out her hands and said rudely. Scram. Zhuo Wen spat out in a cold voice. Leng Ying's expression froze and her face turned red. She pointed at Zhuo Wen and said angrily, "What did you just say? Do you dare to say it again?" Sister Leng Ying and young Master Zhuo, stop arguing, Ruan Lingyu shouted with a serious face. Hearing this, Leng Ying snorted and said unhappily, "Lingyu, why do you keep helping Zhuo Wen, an outsider? Have you forgotten what young Master Xiaoyang said? This person is definitely not with good intentions when he gets close to you." All right. I believe that young Master Zhuo is not that kind of person. When he left our Ruan clan's team, he must have had something important to do, right? Ruan Lingyu shook her head and looked at Zhuo Wen apologetically. Young Master Zhuo, you are a guest after all. You should enter the mansion first. This matter is of great importance and I still need my father's approval. I hope that young Master Zhuo will not forgive me. I know. Let's go in. Zhuo Wen nodded and followed Ruan Lingyu and Leng Ying into the Ruan clan's mansion. After entering the mansion, there was a spacious training field in front of them. At this moment, there were many juniors practicing martial arts in the training field. The wind from the punches whistled and the air shook. Ruan Lingyu's group of 4 naturally attracted the attention of the other people in the martial arts practice field. Especially when they saw Zhuo Wen, who was standing side by side with Ruan Lingyu, these younger generation members all revealed astonished expressions. Who is that young man? Why is he walking with young Miss Lingyu and seems to be talking and laughing? The second young master of the Xiaoyang family, Xiaoyang Pu, already proposed marriage to our Ruan clan yesterday. He wants to marry young Miss Lingyu. Now, young Miss Lingyu is talking and laughing with this strange young man. I don't think it's a good idea. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.